session tonight, the topic is time. And we'll go over that in a few minutes. We're going to wait. We have a guest that's supposed to show up. And we'll do some debates on this subject and some others. So we will sit here and we'll wait until the guest shows up. And we'll just talk about anything we want to talk about. What's up? Shannon Thomas Trucking. What's going on? All right. So what is time? See, some people say time isn't money, but that's wrong. Time is money. Because most of the world pays on time, does it not? Good evening, Robert. What's going on? Alex, good evening. What's happening? Like I said, we'll give our guest, about another minute to show up. Here we go. That's right, Greg. So we'll see. Maybe I should text the guest and say, hey, we've started. Where are you? So let's see what happens. Maybe he got cold feet and doesn't want to come in here. We'll find out. There. We just text him. Describe what's happening. So let's talk a little bit about time. And he's on the phone. He's on the phone. So we'll hold off on that. Any subject anybody in the chat wants to talk about, we got to waste about 5 minutes. He's on a business call at 8 o'clock at night. So, Lorenzo White, what's going on? See, I don't drink. I drink the caffeine-free stuff. Not like TC. TC, I think he does Diet Coke or something. Time is money. That's right, Shannon. So, there are some people that don't know how to value time in this business. And what I talk about that is, we're going to go to the factoring part of time compared to people that don't factor and they don't value their time. Because isn't time money? I mean, if you're sitting there and you're a business and you're spending hour on the phone making phone calls, 2, 3, 4 hours chasing that money, how valuable is that, your time? How valuable is it? You just gonna do it for free because that's what you're doing? Because you could use that time more productive in business. Short loads, I meant, was let's see what Shannon's saying. We'll go off track here for a second and see what Shannon's saying. Doing much better now that I am implementing different strategies using short loads. That's the way to do it. Short loads, regional. You'll always make more in the net, in the long run, than doing the long coast-to-coast runs back and forth. You just will. Plus, you won't wear your equipment out. Want your knowledge on how to get into heavy hauling? Well, Lorenzo, there is a guy, Sage, if you watch this channel, he's a heavy haul broker. You could talk to him. I have not done a heavy haul. I've done oversized loads and things like that when I was out there trucking, but I never did heavy haul. So if anybody in here in the chat or watches the channel wants to get a hold of Lorenzo, shoot your email or something in there that he can get a hold of you and, tell him about heavy haul. Yo, Jeff, 62 mile per hour is good for me. That's right, CPAT. And you're not wasting time, right? What's up, Glenn? What's happening? So, going back to the time factor and where it equates to certain things. Okay, so we all know that there's a big discussion. People that factor and people that don't factor, right? And they say, well, why do I want to do that? I don't want to waste the percentage. I don't want to waste the percentage. But if you're an owner operator and you're leased on to a company, Schneider, JB, Prime, Swift, US Express, Covenant, just go through all of them. You already are factoring. You're paying a factoring fee already. It's called the percentage that you're getting. Like Shannon over at Dart, right? I think she's at Dart. She's paying a factoring fee already because it's baked into the percentage, right? She's paying them for them to pay her in 1 week. Same thing with Schneider, Swift, anybody. If you get paid weekly as an owner operator, you're paying a fee, a factoring fee, because those folks that are running that business didn't get the money in 7 days. Yeah, sometimes it's prepaid, but a lot of times, they get net 15 or 30 or 40 or whatever. You're getting your money before they are. So in respect, you are factoring. And how much is that fee? Just depends. You're at one company for 65%, you're another one for 70%, you're at one for 67%. Either way you slice it, you're doing it. So then when you get out on your own and you don't do it, that's a waste of money. But if you have a stack of bills, that you're calling on, how many hours are you calling every single day? Isn't your time worth money? I would not do that. What's up, KB Smooth down here? What's going on? He's got all the emojis. CPAP. Short loads pay good. Just got to know where to find them. I got 3 shorties this week, less than 150 miles, paying real good. There you go. So, you gotta equate that time into the equation. Does that make sense to anybody? You're paying a fee no matter what. Now, you go to a factoring company like Thunder Funding, gives you a good fuel card so you don't have to go out and buy one. Because, there are ones that have yearly fees, make you take a class, all this garbage for a fuel card. Come on, get real. So, you got to look at it this way. Instead of me taking this stack of bills, let's say this is a stack of bills, I'll just get right here. Let's say I had a stack like this of non-payees, and I got to call every single one of these every single day to remind them, hey, you didn't send the money yet. But I don't have to do that. Why? Because for a small percentage, Thunder Funding does that for me. I have a few hundred people that work, right? That work help this company out. They call until they get the money. And not only that, that broker's going to pay them. They might not pay you because, one, you're not going to be able to do nothing to their credit. But a factoring company can hit them on the network that they all use to check people's credit, right? To check their credit. So if a broker messes over a few factoring companies, what do you think that's going to do to their score on their factorability? And a lot of the industry factors, even the big companies factor, because the money's cheap. See, it is great having my relationship with brokers. They look for loads for me as long as I keep communication up. Did you hear about the proposal of a rolling tax in Massachusetts for all trucking companies? There's rolling tax, you can call it whatever you want, in a lot of different states. I mean, you can look at Oregon, and you can look at Kentucky. I mean, every mile you run through Kentucky, you're paying a tax. Same thing with Oregon. You're paying a tax. Same thing with New Mexico. But Massachusetts, I mean, it's so small. Do you blink and you miss it? Isn't that right, CPAP? Where's Massachusetts? Right, he lives over there and he still can't find it. He still can't find Massachusetts. I'm not putting a whole lot into Massachusetts because there's not much there. And it's only a few miles wide, right, compared to other states. Now, if Texas had a rolling tax, we might have a problem. What else is going on in here? Let me go back up here for a second. What's up, Charles' Son Logistics? Man, where you been? Alabama in the house. That's right, Alabama in the house. All right, so we look at time, and it's just not into, I took it to the factoring part of it. But we can look at anything you want to look at with time. 55 mile an hour versus 65 miles an hour. And then you look at how much time you lose to where you can make more money. Because guess what? You have more time. For example, if in 10 hours, say you'd only drive 10 hours a day, and the guy does 650 miles, we're going to use easy math. 10 times 65, 650 miles in his 10-hour driving, which, it'd probably be 12. We all know this, but say 10 hours, 650. So a guy at 55 would have to do how many hours? 12? Almost 12 hours? So he loses 2 hours? So that's 2 hours a day. Into the 5 days, Monday through Friday, he's lost 10 hours of work. 10 hours of work. Which basically means a whole run. Right? So did he save anything in fuel? Did he save anything? Absolutely not. He lost money. Because why? He gave up his precious thing that you can't never get back, and that's time. He gave up his most precious resource in trucking, time. Gave it up. Dispatchers like Snowlord are worth it. That's right. Snowlord's good. Speaking of fact, I haven't been able to get a hold of anyone from Thunder Funding. Let a message sent and call form and everything. Call the phone number. They answer the phone. So I don't really believe that because I always call and they answer, and all my drivers call and they answer. So and if you don't believe it, it's 6:17. We can probably call and maybe somebody will answer. Maybe it depends if they went home at 5 o'clock or not. But you got to remember, they're on West Coast time. So there you go. Shoot me an email, Corey, with your phone number. And then I'll call him and say, hey, is this phone number called you? You didn't call him back? Which I guarantee you they called you back if you left a phone number. Let's see here. Ronald, what's up? DIY Summit just put out a more informed video on the Massachusetts tax proposal and what it will involve. All right, well, I didn't watch his channel. You can send it to show at bigregradionetwork.com. Or you could even send it to liketrucking@gmail.com. You can send it there too. Stephen, invisible steps to financial freedom. What's going on? Time is the most important. It is. And, you know, there's been some people that say time isn't worth anything, right? It's not valuable. And it's not, time isn't money. That's what some people say. But it is money. Because without time, you can't make the money. And so, in this trucking industry, right, you got people that are promoting, certain mile per hour, 55 mile per hour going down the road, and they're saying they're making all this money in fuel savings, but what they're doing is they're using all their time up where they could make more money driving more miles if they did this speed limit or just under, right? Or just under. I keep getting a text, hold on. Hit that right there. All right, so our guest is trying to come in, but of course, probably having difficulty. Here, let me put the link up again. Tell them it's pinned at the top. Anybody want to join in? You can join in that link or the link at the top. And then this individual coming in factors at Thunder Funding, and we'll see if they answer his phone call. What's up, Dean?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
All right, cool. Imagine that. It actually worked this time.
Yes. So I was talking about time, and I took it to the factoring level, right, of how much time you would have to spend calling to get your money for brokers that don't pay on time, right? And I was going to do a cost comparison of that. And then we had a gentleman in the chat say that he called Thunder Funding, but they never called him back, which I find that hard to believe. And you got up and you ruined your system. Now he's playing around with his earpiece. The dean has some technological problems. Probably because you got it playing through your speaker. You gotta take and put the mute if you're watching it. Dean, if you're watching yourself on YouTube, you gotta mute it. He gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't have it playing and have it on, or it'll do an echo.
Okay.
So just mute your YouTube. But now he's gone, so we'll answer another question. Yeah, jet skis are cool. Jet skis are cool. Dean's back. We'll try it again. You gotta unmute yourself here. Let me unmute you. You gotta hit. There you go. Now talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I know. So, but I'm still getting some feedback. I'm still getting feedback. It's
Well,
delayed.
it's got to. If you're watching YouTube, are you watching yourself on the computer?
Yeah.
Then that's your feedback. You got to turn the volume button off on your YouTube. If you click on the screen and
Yeah,
there's
but
a
if I
volume
turn-
button.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, well, I can hear you. All right, come on, Dean. Easing up. Yeah, what's up, Dean? Jesus, coming in here like 900 times.
You got me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. Look, I think that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, you know what? Every time I use this different Wi-Fi, because I got two of them. But if I use this other one, it never works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think we're good now.
Yeah, we're good. So we were talking about time, and I took it to the point of factoring. You know, because you're waiting to get paid.
Right.
You know, the guys that don't factor, and then they get a stack of, you know, invoices that they got to go through and call all the brokers, but they don't put a money value on their time.
Right. So just imagine if you hired somebody and you paid them to work those invoices for you. So, I mean, if you got $1,000 load, let's just say you're at 2%, right? I mean,
Yeah, $20.
right. So you spend 2 hours on the phone and you're in the hole
Right.
because
So-
you got nothing back.
Right. So if I sit here and call, you know, this broker every single day, let's say for 2 weeks, in waiting for a check, because even if they say they mail you one, you're still going to call. So you keep calling, and how much is that worth?
Yeah, I mean, the value of your time. I mean, it's
Right.
it's just booking freight. I mean, it's the same concept, right?
And that's like I put out the same concept. If you're leased onto a company, and they pay you weekly, you're paying them a factoring fee to get your check every week. It's just in that percentage. It's all baked in
Right.
because they didn't get paid yet,
Correct.
unless it's a prepaid load.
And they're still going to charge you because they're going to get those fees from you, regardless.
Right.
Everybody's going to get the fee.
Sage News Live, up in the chat, we had a gentleman that wants to know about heavy haul. So if you could shoot out an email or something for him to get a hold of you, he'd probably appreciate that. And Lorenzo White wanted to know, right there. So if Sage wants to, help this guy out and let him tell him about heavy haul or put him in contact with another heavy haul driver, that would be awesome. So what's your opinion on time, Dean?
Well, my time my opinion on time is time is sometimes more important. Well, time is definitely more important than rate per mile. I can promise you that because, when I look at a load, like I said before, many times I look at the all-in number and the time. And the other stuff, the shippers, receivers, look, you cannot put, in my opinion, you can't put enough value on your time, right? Because you'll never get time back. Can I go back and make up a load that I missed? maybe not because of time. So, but if you're not factoring, let's say you have 15 loads, 20 loads, I guess we use 20, you can use 10, whatever, but number one, I don't want to chase any money. For those guys that have ever been in sales, you probably understand chasing money is the worst.
Well, not only that, Dean, you don't want to chase money, but you don't know these brokers from Adam,
Right.
and you're going to sit there and let them hold on to your money. Let's say it's a $4,000 load. You're gonna let them hold on to your money for 30, 40, 50 days. You don't know them.
So I'll use this as an analogy, right? So Michael Jordan was good at playing basketball. He took a lot of jump shots, made a lot of layups, and killed a lot of dreams for a lot of people. But they put him in a position where he did what he was good at, right? So if you're the business owner, what are you good at? It's probably not chasing money. It's probably booking loads, running loads, making yourself some money. If you're sitting there on the phone, and it's really not smile and dialing, it's smile and waiting, because you're going to be on hold trying to get through. Again, if you got 15 or 20 loads to go through, holy mackerel, think about it. That 2%, that $20, that $20 is absolutely minuscule compared to the amount of time and money you are burning. Because then if somebody calls you and needs help, how can you help the driver that's trying to call you? You're on hold. Now if you click over, help them, lady clicks over to help you, she can't hear you. It's a disaster. I mean, and it never ends, right? It's just a hamster in the wheel. I don't see how that's a good use of your time, especially as a business owner. Michael Jordan wasn't in the office trying to, make trades. That's just the way I look at it.
Well, yeah, and they'll step over dollars to save a penny.
Oh my God, yeah. So
right?
Well, yeah, a lot of people, I think. Look, we've all heard that term, right? You got to spend money to make money. And I don't care what business you're in, you need to spend money to make money.
Right.
To some degree. Look, we all want to save it, but sometimes you hurt yourself by trying to save those, because some people will step over $100 bills to save 5 cents. That 5 cents it may be insignificant. I mean, everybody looks at things a little different, and I get it, right? The other side's going to say, but the 5 cents over time could mean thousands of dollars. It could. Look, you just have to use your better judgment, and there's going to be some things that you make bad decisions on. I still make mistakes all the time, but I have learned a great deal over the last 3 years. And I still, and I was never the guy to step over penny. I would spend the money and then go back and try to fix it, right? And that happens, right?
Well, let's take another analogy about this. Okay, so if you got someone that, say, doesn't factor, and it's a small percentage rate, mm-hmm. but yet they'll pay someone to do their books. What's the difference? I mean, you're paying someone so you don't spend the time, right, of putting all that entry in.
Right.
So why would you want to take the time to chase your money?
Yeah, look, I've had this conversation with somebody before. I think there's a lot of value in just going through the motions. It's kind of like, I don't know, if you're in the military, you recite your general orders 1,000,000 times, right? It doesn't seem important at the time, but then, there's times when maybe you'd need it on the fly, who knows, right? But if you get questioned, but I think it's important that you understand, and the more that you input your data, your numbers, the more you're going to understand not only your business, but I think trucking as a whole. And there's a lot of, so that to me is valuable time invested in your business, right?
Right.
Chasing dollar bills. Look, people, and maybe I can tie this together, Jeff. So you got time, and I look at this industry as, especially if you're an owner operator. A lot of people say, well, I want a salary. I need to pay myself a salary, or I need this, or or I need a paycheck every week. But I've asked people, do you think that you're in a commission business? Some will say, well, most say no. Very few have ever said yes, right? Because they look at this as a paycheck. Because when you're a company driver, you are used to running miles, and you're going to exchange those for dollars at the end of the week, right? But when you're an owner operator, when you own and it doesn't matter if you're in trucking or you're selling, flower baskets. If you don't go out there and you don't make a sale selling flower baskets, you're not getting a check at the end of the week. If you own a truck and you stay home, you're not getting a check at the end of the week. So isn't it safe to say that you're in a commission business? So we eat what we kill, right? So, and I've heard it before, like, well, we have to be fair to the folks that we call to book loads with. Well, but life isn't fair. Business isn't fair. If you want fair, then go buy tickets, right? You can find a fair somewhere on a weekend to go to. There is nothing fair. I don't think I don't think there's enough cards stacked against us. Why make it any harder? So
correct.
If our most important job is to drive, the only way we can drive is if we get a load, right?
Well, and you got to free up your time from all this other stuff.
Right. And I came up with an acronym for time. TIME, right? So truckers ignoring money everywhere, right? But it's the truth. If we're wasting our time and we're chasing money, we are truckers ignoring money everywhere, right? So,
right.
I don't know. I just think that, again, yeah, it's 2%, but it's not a loan. It's a one-time deal, and that could So back to the commission. A lot of people say, well, don't factor because it's not non-recourse or it's recourse, right? Again, and if you've ever been in sales, you are going to get a chargeback. It will happen. But here's the beauty of factoring versus not factoring. If I get a chargeback, or if broker skips town, whatever, I call it a chargeback. But if I get a chargeback, I've already received my money up front. So
right.
My monthly budget is not going to be hit. And if you're smart, you'll hold some back in that reserve account. Worst
Correct.
Case scenario, whether it's, hopefully it'll go with underfunding. Many reasons why to do that. But look, they'll work with you. Now, I can't speak of any other factoring company. I'm not sure how they are. But when you have a family-owned business, it's much easier to establish that relationship. But more importantly, they will see you work. Even if they don't call you, they can go back and say, okay, this is how many loads this guy's done. We can trust him or her that they're not going to skip town and leave us hanging. And the reason I bring that up, I think they're more inclined to give you to work with you. Let's say you got a $5,000 chargeback, you had $5,000 in your reserves. Look, I'll give you $2,500. Can we work something out for the other $2,500? I'm not saying they will or won't, but I think that you certainly have a better opportunity to do that with a company like Thunder Funding than maybe just a big bank, right? Because the big bank they just they want it to benefit them, never you. So,
correct. Yeah, they'll work with you, right?
Yeah.
And they'll ask you how you want that paid back and things like that. And, it's all on an individual basis.
It is. And think about this too. So if you and I'm not saying that this is gospel.
Okay, look.
By any. Go ahead.
Let's read Jace's thing real quick. If you do your due diligence and credit check, the broker through Factors Network, 99% of the time you won't have chargebacks. Exactly. That's true. For 5 years, 6 years, I haven't had a charge back. And that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loads. Now, did I have one where, I had to fight because, they said there was damage and it wasn't the driver's fault there and back? I had one, but I don't call that a chargeback. because, eventually they pay,
Right.
right?
Well, and think about it. So Jason brings up a good point. Look at the times that we're in. So I think more important than ever before, a lot of people, just look within your own personal life or your own business context. A lot of people may be struggling, but so do brokers. There's a lot of startup brokers out there. Why in the heck would you hand over, $5,000, $6,000, $4,000, pick a number? Would you hand it to a guy on the street and just say, "Here, hold this for 2 months"? But that's essentially what you're doing when you don't run a credit check.
Well, what if you have a stack of invoices that haven't been paid, and it equals $80,000-$90,000? You just gave a bunch of people $80,000 of your money to hold for what? No interest, nothing, free.
Right.
They're holding it.
Right.
It makes no sense. Because
listen, you have more buying power today with your money than you do tomorrow. So why do you want to wait 2 months to get your money, and all it's doing is just losing more value, right? And I don't understand that, but
not only that, you're putting your whole business on credit at that point.
Right.
You
could be.
Because you could be. Because most people they're going to have to buy their fuel on a credit card or a fuel card, and they're borrowing money when they do that. And then if they don't get all these rate cons paid on time, then they go past 30 days on that card, and what happens? They get hit with interest.
Right.
It makes no sense.
No, look, everybody's going to run their business different, and I understand that. But look, it's that KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? So why don't we just try to keep it simple? It's no different than somebody that is in a sales organization that tries to reinvent the wheel. Listen, there's a certain way to do it because it's been time tested, right? Let's just keep it simple. The less stress that's on you, you're going to have a better opportunity for success. So if we create and bring on more stress, then we don't have the ability to do our job, and then we get to the point where we don't want to do our job, right? We don't want to book loads, because then it's a hassle, right? Because you're looking at the end product, and the end product is I got to call said broker and fight for 4 or 5 days to get my money, and that's no fun. Listen, I'm not saying that you will get a chargeback, but if you just have that mindset that it may happen, it may. It may happen to me. Knock on wood, I haven't had that issue. And now I do run the checks like Jason does. So, but to be honest with you, I try to work with the same 10, 15 brokers. This way I don't have an issue. I don't want to work with the small guy. I don't want to take that out. I don't want to take that chance.
Jay says, I only had one where they didn't pay the whole amount. I think it was like $170, and I fixed that with my reserves. Right. You could take it out of there. No harm, no foul. But here's a guy, let's say he's waiting for that $1,000 check, and he's got a bill, and it comes in at $830 because they took $170 for, being late or damage or whatever's on their bill, on the rate con, right? They have all these stipulations. $200 you don't use macro point and all these stupid, you see them, Dean, you see them, Jason. They put these stupid things in there on the rate con. Their little rules.
Well, yeah, if you're late. If you're late or you miss a check call or something like
late
that.
$50. Don't use macro point. $200.
Right.
Don't send your bills in within 24 hours. $250 per day. It's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous. Yeah.
Right? It's stupid.
Yeah.
But
no question.
They do it. And you see it all the time. I could bring up thousands of rate cons and show all that, terminology in there. But now we're talking about time. I took it to driving, Dean. 55 miles per hour when the speed limit's 65. If you do the 65 over a week's time, you can get another 1 or 2 loads in on the time you saved from your logbook, which would pay way more than the fuel savings.
Right. Now, so look, that is true, Jeff, but there's some people out there to say, okay, that is true, and that may be true. We don't know. Because especially times like today, right, where freight is, the volume's down, right? So that may happen or may not. But here's what I would say drives me, I guess, more nuts about that. The FMCSA wants to implement the speed limiters. Well, when it comes to recruiting and driver retention, all we're doing is shooting ourselves in the foot as a company, right? As an industry, all we're doing. If they want robots, then they need to put robots in the truck. But how in the world is it going to be safer to have a bunch of trucks bunched together for a longer period of time? Sure, I may go 65, I may go 70 mile an hour out there in the middle of Wyoming or wherever, right? But if I can get done sooner, isn't that better for the driver? I mean, that does not make things now. And think about this. So two more quick points on that. Number one, we're going to have guys are already. If you're a company driver, you're out 2-3 weeks. So they implement the speed limiters, and we're all going 65 mile an hour. So what are we going to have guys out there a month to make ends meet? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? And furthermore, our number one job when we get in that driver's seat, when we're driving down the road, is to create space around our truck. That's our number one job. How in the world are we going to do that with everybody bunched together? Makes no sense to me. To me, it's not about safety. It's more about control than anything else.
Well, with the speed limiter, it's going to be a bottleneck because let's say they limit all the trucks to 60 miles an hour, let's say. Well, not all trucks are equal, right? So one truck might go 60 and a half with that limiter. So what's that going to do? They're going to get side by side. It's going to take 20 miles for them to get by the guy, you know.
It will. Well, and think about it. We already have cars that'll try to pass this on the shoulder. I mean, what's going to happen now? We're going to have cars try to pass this on both shoulders, and then they're going to get around a bunch of trucks. There's going to be a parked vehicle, whether it's a big truck or four-wheeler. They're going to run into the back. I mean, you know, it's going to be a disaster. I do not see how that is going to make things. You know, they tried this back in the 70s, right? So it didn't work then with less population in the country. How in the world would it work now with a bigger population of people? More people on the roads. Roads are bigger. How is that going to work? And if we're all going 65, I mean, how do we speed up if we need to get around a four-wheeler that's not going to let us in? Or vice versa. I mean, I don't know. I think it's foolish.
Dean, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do not.
He does not, Anthony. And I don't know if you've seen it. I think it was on YouTube where they showed an autonomous truck crashing. Did you see that? Where it ran into the wall?
Yeah, I've seen a couple, yeah.
Yeah, a pickup truck was passing it, and it showed the one guy just sitting there on his computer because it was showing the rear-facing camera. And the driver wasn't really holding onto the wheel, and all of a sudden that wheel spun around, and it went right into the barrier.
Oh, wow.
And almost hit the pickup.
Wow.
See, we will not have autonomous trucks taking over this industry in our lifetime.
No.
Because we don't have the infrastructure to sustain that.
No. We don't. The roads aren't even suitable for the mechanical trucks. I mean, I guess for lack of a better term, human, right? I mean, we just don't.
Take a look at electric vehicles. I think, wasn't it Biden just said, what year did he give?
2030?
2030, that 50% of the cars will be electric. That's not even going to be around. That's not
unrealistic. Yeah,
it's unrealistic because where's the charging stations? We have none here.
Right.
We don't have any here.
Right.
And not only
in
that,
the rural areas, there's no way. I mean, an area like that, there's no way. I mean, there's nothing remotely close. I mean, maybe up in the city there is, but that's 70 miles away. I mean, what good is that going to do?
But wait till people find out how much it costs to replace the battery.
Right.
15 grand.
Right. And look, I don't have an issue with any of that, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like some other stuff that we have to put on, you know, do you wear it, do you not? I mean, if it works, we know it doesn't work. Look, just don't force it on people. That's all.
Right. Well,
just let them do their own thing.
I see the use for electric cars in pickups. If you don't travel a lot, and you bought, let's say, the Ford F-150 Lightning when it comes out, and it gets 300 miles in a charge, 250, 300. A lot of people, that's all they need. They don't never go further than 200 to 300 miles.
Right.
Like I was looking at, I was watching some YouTube, and Harley Davidson has an electric motorcycle. Right? It's called the Livewire.
You need to go buy it.
And it does about 150 miles on a charge. But it does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. But see, that's the thing with electric vehicles. There's going to be a lot more accidents because they're a lot more powerful.
Well, I think that too. And what if, what if people take it down to nothing and you're going to have a bunch of cars stalling in the middle of the road? What if they take a chance? All of a sudden they just stop? I mean, what's going to happen then? I mean, a bunch of rear end collisions.
Clowney says Biden doesn't know what time zone he's in. He can. How can he predict EV capacity in 8 years?
Exactly. That's funny. That is funny.
Yeah, California can't even keep their electricity on, and they're going to sit there and let everybody plug in.
Yeah. Well, I saw a thing that it was on the news, right? So they had Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, right? So they said, "Hey, do you know how much electricity it takes to charge a car?" They were trying to compare a home air conditioner to charging your car, and they said, "Yeah, but do you know how much it uses in excess of an air conditioner?" He had no clue, right? He had no response. And the politician that was asking him the question said, "Yeah, it's 4 times, a family's air conditioner at home. 4 times. So we want to add that expense,
right?
To somebody's bottom line every month. Yeah, I think that's foolish."
Well, TC Boggs, you want to join the conversation? Click on the link. Look, Anthony, Harleys and electric should never be. You'd have to carry an old-fashioned boombox, strap it to the back, make it sound like a Harley because you'll hear nothing on that bike. But you got to give it to them. They built. There's 2 brands. Their brand rivaling another brand, and they're pretty close. It's high tech. They did it right. So, yeah, they deserve to be there because they made one of the best electric motorcycles that's on the planet right now. So they did do something right. Does it sound like a Harley? Absolutely not. Well, it does, Dean. It does sound like a Harley. If you have a loss of hearing, you don't know the difference.
Right. So I guess you got to be deaf and yeah. I would say something else, but I better not. We'll just keep playing.
Walter says, "Where are they going to get the materials to make the batteries? The Taliban? The Taliban? They control the lithium."
Right. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Actually, isn't it? I think it's China that has most of lithium, isn't it? It might be. I don't know. I can't remember.
I know. Yeah, China has a lot of it.
So think about, instead of landfills, we're going to have those. It's going to be like, what are they called? The dinosaur yard for all the planes that are dying. They put it. We're going to have one of those farms for batteries, and that's worse for the environment than putting diesel fuel or gasoline in your car. I don't see how that's any smarter. To be honest with you.
Right. We're gonna have like Chernobyl land.
Right.
You won't be able to habitat it, for.
No, this guy here is right.
Years.
So, CPAP trucker, so they already said, listen, the grid is made, our current grid is made for what we use it for currently. If you put a bunch of electric vehicles, think about it, the government wants to go to all electric vehicles. They said there's no way to crash the system.
Right.
Whatever city they're in. You'll have blackouts there. Nobody have air conditioner. But did you hear the latest? They said last week, yeah, but we have to do without. No. How about you do without, and then let us know how that feels, and then I don't understand it.
Right, exactly. Rocket, it's not a cruiser. A huge lithium mine owned by China in Mexico. Elvis says they already calculated a destiny equation. I wouldn't doubt it.
Right.
But, in trucking, the autonomous vehicles are not going to take over. Not
anytime soon.
Anyway.
No,
because of the infrastructure. Just like the electric vehicles.
Right.
I don't see any way possible in just over 7 years from now, 50% of the vehicles are going to be electric. I don't think so.
No. Well, especially not. I mean, so what? In 10, 15 years? No way. I mean, I don't think. So you look. We look. If we just look at the minimum wage, right? So you got minimum wage. Well, minimum wage now, they raised the minimum wage. That doesn't buy you anything, right? I mean, you're worse off now than you were just leaving it the way it was before, right? But my point is, I don't think that there's enough dollars left over to get you over that hump to purchase an electric vehicle. And
Right.
I heard that if you try to go buy an electric vehicle, you got to be like in a certain status, right, in the world in order to purchase one of them things. Not just any Joe can go buy one, which is.
TC Boggs has an electric vehicle.
Do you?
Yeah.
Prius?
Salute.
He's got a Prius. Where's yours, Dean? This is the Coke channel. Salute.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I need to get a Coke. I got a Coke.
Well, go get one. You got it.
Right,
We got caffeine Coke, Diet Coke, and of course, you probably got green tea, cappuccino
No,
Coke.
I can't drink that. I don't know. All of a sudden, it started making me sick.
We lost TC Boggs. He's had technical difficulties just like you did.
Yeah, I said. Well, at least I figured it out. I knew it was something simple because I've never had an issue. But evidently, I don't know what's wrong with that other Wi-Fi. I have no clue.
Oh, you got the recyclable plastic. I hope a trucker didn't use that bottle.
Oh shoot.
Oh shoot.
No, there's no way. This thing is. Look how small that is. There's no way.
Oh yeah. There's no way. Yeah.
No way. That's only a half a thermos of coffee. I mean, not even. That's like a quarter.
What's up, TC?
I fumble fingered that one.
So what's happening?
Oh man. Oh, just listening to the great information. I just wanted to add a little something to the whole EV thing out there in California. I was doing a little research on that, and it looks like the last nuke plant in California is due to be shuttered by 2025.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So they're already dealing with brownouts, and they can't keep up with demand, and they think they're going to replace that nuke plant with solar and wind. I'm like,
No.
you guys have no idea it was coming.
Solar and
Yeah,
wind.
So look, I just saw a program on solar. All those panels are made in China, right? Or let's say 80-90% of them. I mean, why are we giving them our money? I mean, that is about, as smart as, dumb can be. You know what I mean?
I just had my neighbor across the highway put up he's got a small little solar field going, to power, probably his pole barn or something.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The sad thing is that China owns about 70% of the rights to the minerals that make these batteries, like the lithium, the cobalt, the nickel, and so forth. And then they own the majority of the manufacturing plant that makes the battery. So what's essentially going to happen is that China is going to become the new Saudi Arabia. Isn't that wonderful?
Right. Oh, it's gonna be, that's awesome. Gonna be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the other thing
they're
about
already saber
TC,
rattling with Taiwan and out there messing around with the South China Sea by putting those islands out on the atolls. And they're already disrupting free trade in the area. So let's just give the CCP more money to saber rattle and go after their neighbors.
right?
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
Here's the thing on those solar panels. So you're 100% right, TC. In making those solar panels is very labor intensive. Like I said, I just watched a program like last week. But why don't we take those jobs and bring it here? I mean, that would create a very good. I mean, a really good job for somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But here's the other. I watched another program. Or I read it. I can't remember. But a penny. So a penny is copper. But do you know in 1982, I believe, they stopped making copper pennies. They're nickel. When you mentioned nickel, it registered. The pennies are now made out of nickel.
Yeah, they're not made out of all copper like before.
No, and they're just plated with copper. Yeah.
Right. I just didn't know they were made of nickel. I mean, you can hold a penny nowadays. You can tell it doesn't have the same weight.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like those windmills. You see all these windmills being transported all over the place over here.
Right.
For these big windmill farms. Yeah, a lot of those are manufactured in Australia.
Oh,
well,
wow.
We could build those plants in Texas because how many hundreds of thousands of people do they let in this country illegally? They got to work somewhere.
Oh, right.
Oh, Jeff, you sweet summer child. No, since the Biden administration, since the Biden administration took office, over 2 million.
Well, I did
undocumented people across the border.
I didn't want to, rain on their parade, because they would take credit for the 2 million, but they say we're not in a recession. They say we have the best unemployment ever in history. They say,
sure.
Yeah. Wait till the GDP comes out. If they don't magically use a erasable marker on it and change the numbers.
Well, no. We have to redefine recession. That's what they're saying now. We got to redefine.
Yes, they redefined recession.
Right.
Yeah, it's So I'm trying to get the lighting right here.
Are you Tom Bodette?
Yeah. I'll leave the light on for you. I don't know. That's a weird shine. I didn't want to blind you guys. So I'm trying to figure this out from the cab of my truck. Now we'll figure it out. I'm gonna hunch down.
Looks like he was grabbing a fur ball there for a minute.
No, the only furs right here. Like,
oh wait, CPAP's he's got something here.
Yeah, 81 million votes. Yeah. Most popular president ever. Well, I can't talk about that because it'll get the channel taken down because I happen to be one, so I don't want to risk it.
Man, go ahead and reject solar. And when the grid fails, my lights and refrigerator will be on and you'll be in the dark. Mine will be on because I'll be using a gas generator.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad. I'm not against solar, but look, my parents have solar, but it takes so long, and depending on what state you're in, I mean, if you're in a state that has a crap load of sunshine, it may work. And some of those utilities in those states, have deals with these solar panel companies to get it for free, right? And so, they're just robbing Peter to pay Paul, really. But it works out better for the consumer in certain states, right?
Sure.
And not my state. It
wouldn't be such a big deal if we manufactured them here. You can't tell me we don't have all the natural resources and the wherewithal to make these alternative energy plants or whatever here.
Yeah. Well, Robert, Terry, Jeff, and he's right. Look, my I have family out on the West Coast where Robert, and exactly. I mean, look, you can save a lot of money by going solar in those areas for sure.
Right, in those areas, right.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to get the panels.
Right.
You got to get the subsidies. Right, you got to get that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But we're talking on a mega scale. You know, so when it comes to EV vehicles, 50% of the whole country by 2030, we don't have the grids to support that much charging.
There's no way. Hey, look, they can't build a road in 5 years. How are they going to make?
Hey, wait a minute.
No way.
They can't
There's
even
no way.
build.
They can't.
even build vehicles right now.
Right. I mean, they can't
Right.
fix potholes. It takes
No,
15 years.
they can't get the chips in Taiwan.
Yeah, they're
They
still
can't get the
waiting
chips
on
in
computer
Taiwan.
chips.
Right.
And then when China goes into Taiwan, how are we going to get the chips then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know if you guys know. You guys might know, but people in your audience, Taiwan's chief export is computer chips. So when China keeps screwing with Taiwan, it's disrupted. You know, all those trucks we couldn't get chips for after Volvo had to shut down their line for. They had,
Right.
but they had the chips for them. Let's got all that's coming from Taiwan.
Right.
And when they just
CPAP's got it right. The Amish will be the last one standing.
100%.
Yeah.
Look at
100%.
They're going to be. We think they're behind the times, but they're actually advanced more than we are.
Yeah, they know about horsepower. They have all the horsepower.
It doesn't matter if they cost triple if it was made in the United States. At least we wouldn't be dependent on other countries.
Right.
Same thing. Same thing with our oil. We were independent.
Yeah.
We were.
For 5 minutes.
And our fuel wasn't skyrocket high, was it?
No.
No.
And how about our pharmaceuticals? Do we not remember when
Right.
Xi Jinping threatened to drown the U.S. citizens in a sea of COVID by withholding the PPE and the pharmaceuticals that we had already purchased here as a nation? That happened, people. So yeah, even you have to remember, even if it costs more because of our labor, we have better environmental practices. If you care about the earth, you want manufacturing back here in the U.S. because we have better practices.
Right, because
And
we
What's
have
that?
all the green pieces right out in California. That's where they start all this stuff, carb and everything.
yeah,
So we're supposed to be the saviors of the planet. But how does that work? If we're so clean, but everybody else is so dirty,
Right.
it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
without India and China's cooperation, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Exactly. So that's the thing. We have all these rules and regulations here to prohibit business. The other countries could care less because they're in business to make money. They're
Right.
not going to follow
Yeah.
these stupid regulations,
Yes. So if the Chinese have to go out there and chew their air, they're not going to care because it's not exactly like they're beacons of human rights.
Right.
They don't
These
really care.
countries,
Right.
these countries are laughing at us because they know we're hurting ourselves
Right.
by doing all this, and they're over there polluting like crazy, cashing in.
Yep. They are.
Yeah.
It's a definition of insanity, right? I mean,
Right.
we are the spitting image of it for sure.
Yeah, and just to put a fine point, when you're talking about triple the cost for a solar panel, but you can understand that money used to circulate within our communities here in the U.S., and that's the money that we use to rebuild our infrastructure, like the potholes and the bridges and the whatnot. And having that plant there, and then you having all the services that sell to that plant, and then all the other businesses that cater to the employees that work at that plant, all
Can you
that
hear
money
me?
used to circulate in that community. And now that money's going abroad, overseas. And what that's doing
Damn.
to
Can
get
you hear
that
me,
cheap
Jeff?
solar panel,
Yeah.
get that cheap solar panel, that's helping to build that next Chinese aircraft carrier to take us out to the South China Sea. So bear
We can
that
hear
in
you,
mind.
Dean.
So you have to pay a little bit more, but what's that?
Oh, I was telling Dean we could hear him. He's I think he lost his headset.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I tried to get this to work with my headset. I don't know the setting for it
But,
on my Bluetooth.
just take a look at what happened during COVID. We don't manufacture here a lot of the stuff. So now look at, we still can't get products.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you go buy certain types of cars, can't get them. You go buy lawn mowers, tractors, or whatever, you might get one.
Well, look, I saw a big lot the other day. I went and delivered. It was last week. So I went and delivered it this one place, and I was lost, so I stopped and I was trying to figure out how to get in somewhere. But anyway, I said, "Hey, what are all these cars and trucks for?" I mean, there were thousands, right? And there was a train bringing them in, and the train was stopped. And he said, "Look, you have no room for it." I said, "Right, I understand it, but how come they're not at a dealer?" Oh, they have cars from 2020, trucks from 2020, model year 2020. He said, "Man, they're going to go for cheap."
Right over here, in my backyard, truck and bus, Chevrolet. Parking lots are full of those trucks. They had to rent the airport parking lots over there, and they're full of their trucks waiting for chips.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's going to happen when people want, when they finally do get the chips? I mean, these dealerships or the manufacturers, somebody's going to take an incredible loss. You can't sell a 2020 or 2021 and 2024 and expect to get, the same price for it. No one's going to buy
Not
it.
unless you stamp it and say it was a 24.
Well, yeah. But you know what's going to happen? We, the taxpayers, are going to bail their asses out again like we did back during the Obama administration.
Right.
Yeah.
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 They might as well just give those cars away to the people that need them because we already paid for them as taxpayers.
No, that's true too. That's what they should do. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just some things are national security issues. Like we should be able to manufacture our own steel. We should be able to manufacture our own chips, our own food, have clean water. I mean, just basic things going on. I mean, look what's happening. What's that?
Well, let's take a look at Harley Davidson. They say they're American made. Are they?
Yeah.
Because you can't get them. I mean, they have a few. When they hit the showroom, they're gone because they don't have any. They don't have enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And they
get around with a lot of that. Maybe it's assembled in the U.S., but
Right.
but all the parts are made abroad.
Could be.
Yeah. They like to play
They're
fast.
not 100% anymore. That's a guarantee.
Jeff,
Yeah.
I got something trucking related for both of you. So I thought about this, and I've already ran it past Jeff, but I just want I'm going to run it by everybody again here. So fuel surcharge, right? So
Okay.
This is a big topic, and this will help get us back on track, right? But fuel surcharge. So think about it. If you have a load posted for $700, and this is just for people out there that watch and give a different perspective on how to look at the load board and or book loads, right? Not saying this is right or I'm right, just some food for thought. But let's say the load is $700, or let's make it 1,000. Make it easy, right? It's late. So let's say it's $1,000. It's going 300 miles. When we have times like this, where the fuel is high, and the fuel surcharge, if we go on Department of Energy's website, go on DOE, look at the fuel surcharge, do your simple math, right? Take the fuel surcharge with the miles, add it together. You as the driver, the owner, should add that to that base rate of $1,000. That's my thought. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that you're going to get it, but think about this. That broker understands, and it's spot market, right? So look at, I believe every load has some fuel surcharge in it, right? I believe every load has some fuel surcharge. I also believe that if the load is on the board for $1,000, that broker's not making $300. Okay, that broker's probably making $1,800, $2,000, maybe $2,200, $2,300. Who knows? But they're making profit on that load. my point here is, I would say most of us, if we see something for $1,000, we might ask for 500, but I would think a majority are probably asking for 300 or less. But if you look at the fuel surcharge and you go on Department of Energy's website, 80 cents, 8 times 3, right? Let's say it's 300 miles. So if it's 80 cents, it's $240, right? So it's already $1,340. But that's my floor. I'm going to start there. So when I call in my brain, it's $1,340 load. Now if I add $400, right? Now I'm at $1,740. Now I think you're getting closer to what the actual rate really is, right? Now, sure, maybe some companies don't get the whole, shippers or whoever per load, but maybe they don't give the full total of the fuel surcharge. But I'll bet you it's at least 50%. Even if it's 50%, it's $120. Look, that should be your floor, and negotiate from there. Because, look, what I'm trying to convey here is this. When you negotiate, if you don't go on DOE's website, all you're really negotiating is your fuel surcharge, which in turn is costing you money because you didn't add and you didn't go on the website to find out where that floor should be to begin with before you started your negotiation. So why not add that on there? Look at, shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. Look, the worst they can do is say no. But, and nothing's free. They don't want to work for free, so we should work for free, right? If you Google an owner's salary, small business owner salary, right? It's 30% of your net income, okay? So 30%, think about that, 30% of your net income. If your net income is 50 grand and you take 30% of 50 grand, that's $15,000, right? 5 times 3 is 15 grand.
Yeah. Right.
That way. So look at my point also that I'm trying to make here is, if you don't take yourself serious as a business owner, how in the world can you expect the people that you're trying to do business with to take you serious when you don't? And look, I mean, optics are everything, right? So if I call a broker and I just ask for $200, what kind of Mickey Mouse operation am I running? Are they going to take me serious? Because they know what the math is. They can figure it out, how much it takes to run a truck X amount of miles. They already know. And they're getting a lot more phone calls. And I'm sure they would probably respect somebody that overshoots than undershoots.
Well,
it's just.
Dean, you remember, we were on the phone when, during COVID, and we were negotiating with these brokers. And my number was always way out there. Mm-hmm. Was it not?
It was.
And then you would come in, and you'd come in a little lower, and then we just play against each other to this broker. And I'd say, well, you better take his number because he's giving you a discount.
Right. And we were way up there. And we got the load. That was now they ended up pulling it from us. But look, it is what it is, right? I mean, we got the rate count. Did we get the count on that? I think we did.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
You guys know more about it than I do as far as negotiating the loads, but from what I can tell, just from talking with other owner-operators that I hang out with on a regular, we are already in a recession. Freight rate is down, and it's we have an oversupply of truckers.
We've been in
think about this.
So the brokers can name their rate, kind of like what happened in was it 2019?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
But think about this though, TC. But think about this. That's the worst mistake you can make. And again, if we go back to time, what Jeff talked about, and commission, salary, look, if you discount your business, you're undervaluing you, right? That's your business. Why would I want to do the same job cheaper? What am I running shoddy equipment? Am I not adequate enough? So if I discount it and I go with that thought that, okay, we're in a recession, so I should offer a cheaper rate. No, my truck is, I'm no cheaper, or I'm better than the next guy, right? I mean, that has to be your mentality. Now, listen, it's tough on the spot market, but again, you know, your tone, their tone, all of that stuff's important on the phone. And if they know you're serious, then they'll take you serious. But I'm not going to discount anything.
But Dean, the problem we have is there's a lot of uneducated owner operators negotiating rates that don't have a clue what they're doing, and that's the problem we have.
Well, right, and I understand that. Look, there's a terrible argument that goes on all over YouTube, and it's rate per mile, revenue per day. Look,
Yeah.
I would just ask. I would ask people, can I build a business plan on rate per mile? I cannot, because my rate per mile is going to change so much. If you're married and you say, okay, you got $2.50 a mile to go spend today, what does that equate to? I mean, how in the world can you function? That doesn't even make sense, right? And I'm not banging on the people that like to focus on rate per mile, but you have more leverage when you call to negotiate if you deal with revenue per day, because that's an easy number for all of us to understand. And if they say no, that's too high. Well, how much too much is it, right? I mean, it's easy, you know. And if they don't want to come to your number, then move on, right? Just move on. And the more that we move on, the more respect I'll have for you in the long run.
That's the point I was trying to make. You're right. It's all about leverage, right? And right now, the brokers have the leverage because there's not enough freight to go around for how many trucks are out there. So
Well,
I've talked to the guys. I mean, they said they were on the phone with the brokers and they're dickering on the prices. And by the time they get to a half agreeable number, that load's already gone.
so I do agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong, TC. I do agree 100% with you. But I think that all comes down to understanding the time, what Jeff talked about, commission / salary. Listen, our time is worth just as much as, you know, running that load, right? I mean,
Sure.
again, and at the end of the day, we're all sales, right, or gals. We're all salespeople. And you're going to eat what you kill, and you're going to get what you expect. If you don't expect to get it, you'll never get it, right? And it might take 15, 20 phone calls. But I look at the load board all the time, and I've been home for a week. Look, in my opinion, there still are plenty of loads out there. Even at the end of the day, there's still a lot of loads. So in my opinion, you just, I mean, you can call it aggressive, but, you know, maybe assertive is a better word. But we just have to be assertive and understand what our numbers are, and don't go below that. That's all.
So would you value paying for a dispatch service to take care of that for you?
No, I would not.
So
Here's why. So I don't want an hourly employee that's paid $15, $20 an hour that I have zero control of, because I'm not in the same room with him, right? So I don't know, you know, phone etiquette and phone skills are near and dear to me. So if your phone etiquette and your phone skills aren't up to par, how do I know what you're getting? Because, you know, here is their tactic when they call you. We can get you the best loads. You're going to gross $10,000 to $12,000 a week. Yeah, but you know, we'll run you 2,500 to 3,000 miles. But that's not the game I want to play, right? The game I want to play is I want to run 1,500 to 1,800 miles or 2,000, and I still want to get $7,000 to $10,000 in revenue, right? But I don't have any. It's just like not factoring. I've never met these people. Why in the world would I trust them to run my business, right? Because now you're not an owner. It's almost like contract freight, right? So contract freight, you're not running your truck. You're not running your business. Somebody else is. Now, somebody would argue and say that's more money, and I would make the opposite argument. All I'm saying is, if we want to be an owner-operator and you want to be a business owner and respected as such, I think we have to run it. Look, look, I try not to be a jerk, right? I try not to. Maybe at times I come across as a jerk when I'm booking and I'm negotiating with brokers. But at the end of the day, it's all business. It's nothing personal, right? And Jeff has said it on this channel many times, going back 4 or 5 years ago. Why would I want a $12 hour employee, or whoever to run my business. I don't want that, and I don't have control of them. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Now, I was just thinking maybe a dispatch service would be beneficial in this market because you really don't have time to sit there and make the 20 phone calls. You know what I mean? You have to. You really need to focus on getting the loads down the road. I mean, and then you can have a person dedicated doing the negotiating and getting those loads. Because, like I said, I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, just from talking to them, there's, like I said, they're on the phone with a broker, and that load gets snatched out from under them, and then
okay.
they're left with no load until the afternoon or the next day.
If you had a good negotiator, right? So
Sure. I mean, you have to get with a service or servicer that you trust. But I'm just saying that you're talking about like factoring is saving time, right? So, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
that's why
dispatch service, it depends, right? It depends if the person that's doing the dispatching, right, if they're getting a percentage, not by the hour, then it benefits them to get you the highest amount possible.
Exactly.
Right.
So that would be okay. Absolutely. But think about it though, TC. But the guys that say, so, and I'm not picking on you, but now we have more time than ever to really be diligent on the phones, because if there's no freight, then we have more time, right? But I do understand your point though. If there's not a lot of freight, I need to get what I can get and go down the road. But then you get into that, spiral of death, I guess, or career suicide, and now you just want to drive a boatload of miles and not make, enough money.
Well, I think what TC is saying is you get a load and you're going down the road, then you have that dispatch service constantly looking at those loads of where you're going and be able to snag one that you might miss because you're driving down the road.
Yeah. But again, I agree with that. And so let's look. The people that call me, I don't know from anybody, right? I have no clue who they are. But if you know who they are, because they don't have a YouTube channel, I don't have any relationship with them. You don't know, and you've never seen their face. But if you've seen their face and you know who they are and that they really do exist, and because even though you're talking to somebody, that doesn't mean that the rapport that you're building on the phone with somebody, that doesn't mean that's going to be booking the loads, right? Because they're going to hand it off to maybe 2-3 people, right? But if there's one designated person that's dispatching it, that's an entirely different game.
Yeah, like I said, it can go either way. That's why I wanted your guys' input on that. If that would be, if you were talking about time-saving measures like the factoring and whatnot, so I was thinking that maybe dispatching would help too in this market. So,
would you agree with that, Jeff? Would you agree with my statement?
Yeah, I'd agree with it.
I thought Jeff's gonna let me have it.
So I think there's different personalities out here, right? So the dean is a master negotiator. All right. So he's in the top 2%, top 3% of negotiators. So it makes zero sense for Yuppie to hire a dispatch service.
Correct.
But if you're just kind of just barely average, or you feel that your skills are not up to par, then there may be good value in paying for a dispatch service, right?
Because that service will get you more money than that percentage they're charging.
That's right.
But it has to be at a margin where, like Snorlord's 5%. You got to have that plus then some above and beyond what you could get to make it work.
Right, but if they're a better negotiator, they're going to get that money.
Right, here's the beauty with having, when you have one designated person. See, I would be okay. Now I may not be, but if I'm somebody, I would be okay with knowing that, let's say Steve, right? He's booking the loads. That to me is okay. Number one, I can call him, I can reach out to him. Look, it's no different. A lot of people say we need to build relationships. When you call a broker, you'll never build a relationship over the phone, but you can build some rapport, right? There's a big difference between relationship and rapport. And I'm not saying either one is more important, but that's about all you're going to be able to build. And the quicker that you can build rapport, the better it may be for you, right? And so,
Well, you let me dispatch it.
I would, but I would. You have to. You've helped me find a couple of those. Right. I trust the Godfather. Absolutely.
But like I said,
But the fuel surcharge, I think the fuel surcharge should be mandatory. I mean, federally mandatory. I think that should be in every rate. It should be transparent, because right now we wouldn't even be worried about fuel prices at all if we were. Right. What is the fuel surcharge now? 80 cents.
Yeah. Okay. So, Truckin, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about wanting fuel surcharge, but what you're asking for is more government regulation, which we don't need more of in any way, shape, or form. And so what it comes down to is that if you look at rate per mile for spot market freight without fuel surcharge, it's $1.95 or so, give or take a few cents. With fuel surcharge, it's $1.98, correct. $1.98 without fuel surcharge, and with fuel surcharge, we're running about $2.80 to $2.90.
Well, so look,
right. So think about this though. That 80 cents, if you go 7 miles a gallon, it's 7 times 80. If an average of out here's what, $5 a gallon, give or take. That's $5.60 a gallon you get for the fuel. You're getting paid to burn fuel, because it would be $5.60, and if you're only paying $5, you're getting 60 cents.
Right, but all you're asking for is for every rate con to look like coyotes. That's all you're asking for, because that's all they'll do. You are going to negotiate the rate that you can get.
You don't need, but you don't need more government regulation.
Right, they're not going to add.
I want government regulation that benefits us. Most government regulation doesn't benefit us.
The government never, ever does anything to help us. They always screw it up and cost us money.
But that's my point. So you don't necessarily need government regulations. You look at, if everybody just went and did the same thing, right? Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Just go on. This will only work when fuel prices are extremely high, right? Because when fuel prices are $2.50, I mean, or less, I mean, it's really not going to matter. But it
will matter. Do the math.
Right.
You're all about math. Do the math. It will matter.
No, it will. But
the problem with spot market freight, and you're dealing with brokers, is you can't say, well, I'll do that load for $2,400, and then they say, okay, but then they add another 80 cents a mile per fuel surcharge on there.
That should be on the top. Every rate con should have the fuel surcharge on top, and you negotiate the flat rate, the rate besides the fuel surcharge.
I agree with
the line haul.
So then you're going to run for $1.90 a mile. That's what the current market is bearing without fuel surcharge.
No.
So if you want to run for $1.90 a mile, go for it.
No. But
I'll just negotiate. I'll negotiate my all-in rate and get more.
But that's all.
Now, to my understanding, that the Department of Energy fuel surcharge is not. It's not law. To my understanding, it's a set point that the government puts out there for a region.
Right. They don't have to pay on it.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, you really don't really. You'll see more of that with like the contracted freight, and they'll tie that to whatever the DOE is showing for that week.
Right.
But if you're just negotiating the rate off the spot market, then it could be whatever you negotiate.
They came up with that for UPS and FedEx to put on there the fuel surcharge for their trucks and planes and everything else, and just spun into the trucking industry.
Yeah.
But if the fuel surcharge is given and you have the ability to negotiate the line haul, I mean, who says it's fixed at $1.98? If you're a good negotiator, you might get $2.50 plus the fuel surcharge. You're still negotiating your rate, but you get given fuel surcharge.
And I'm okay with them not. But look, if the shipper is giving it to the broker and the broker's not passing it on, that's the biggest concern I have, right? So you want to make money on the base rate, and you want to make the money that the shipper or whoever's paying the bill is supposedly passing on to the carrier. in my opinion, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That doesn't make any sense. That's illogical, right?
Why not?
If I
They get
give
their
you a-
cake and eat it too. Why can't we?
I mean, they're double dipping essentially. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Right,
They're double dipping
exactly.
on the base rate and the fuel surcharge.
There are some companies out there that only want to give you a certain amount on your fuel discount, and then they're going to skim that fuel surcharge on top of that too to make their money.
Right.
Not,
Well, no,
I don't know
you're
if we're
exactly
naming
right.
names here, but
Exactly right. No, you're 100%
And
right.
some
TC.
shippers,
Look at-
some shippers won't
Yeah.
pay it, or they'll only pay a certain amount.
Right. But TC's 100% right. Look at, I believe that's how they make the margins because they don't put fuel surcharge on, right? And step on the base rate. So if I just give you a portion of the fuel surcharge and I step on the base rate, now I just make a margin of 40 to 60% as the broker, right? You make whatever's left, right, as the carrier.
Well, that's how Coyote does it,
right.
right? That's one of them. That
Yep.
you'll negotiate $3.50 a mile, okay, and then they'll break out fuel surcharge out of that $3.50,
See, that's
Put it
how
on
they get
there.
over on you.
and that's how they make the money.
Right.
You know, there's a few of them that do that. They'll break it out after the negotiation.
Right. But if everybody did that, right? So if that just became SOP, that we all just go on to DOA and add the fuel surcharge in there, and then just start negotiating. I mean, if more and more people did that all the time, that would become, kind of what it is. Right?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't see $1.50 a mile loads.
No.
Because
No, you
people-
wouldn't.
No, so if everybody ran their business like a business instead of a job,
Right.
then rates would be higher because freight wouldn't move for cheap.
See, that's the problem we got. Most people that get into owner-operator treat it just like they were a company job.
Yep.
They're a
Right.
paycheck mentality. As long as they get a paycheck, they're making money, is what they think.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, most of them negotiate out of desperation or ignorance. Most of them out here don't even know what the hell they're doing when they're negotiating.
Well, some people look at it too, and they just want to cover their fuel cost. But see, when you just cover your fuel cost, how much time are you wasting? Are you wasting 2 days? Are you wasting 3 days? Okay, for your fuel, but look at the amount of time you. So if all you do is cover your fuel cost and you want to make $850 a day, you lose $1,700, right? Plus the fuel. I mean, you made nothing. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. Right? Time is always worth something. If time doesn't mean anything to you, then take all your invoices, if these are a stack of invoices, right, and just ask somebody to process those for free. Who's going to do it?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Right?
No one.
Yeah.
Time is always something. I promise. Right? Woo, the dean's getting fired
Right.
up tonight.
That's our most
Nobody
valuable
works-
asset out here. Time.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons
Nobody
why
works for
I
free.
use
And when
Thunder
we-
Funding to do my invoices, because I don't want to take the time to call all these brokers and get switched to this person, that person, then say, oh, well, we lost something, send the bill in again, and so forth and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, there's that, but time. It's time. Miles don't matter. It's time. It's time.
Right.
Yeah, in this economy, you're gonna have to find ways to streamline as best you can. Because, like I was bringing up 2019, because I remember the guys going up to the Pacific Northwest, and they were getting 90 cents a mile on the spot market. It was bad.
Well-
trying to get out of like Seattle.
Me and Cool
Yeah,
Trucking,
so it's just
last week we did streamline. We cooked our steak on a stone. We were back in the stone.
That's
age.
right.
there.
That's right. We could have been in a cave somewhere.
Man, we can't even get a Happy Meal out of Godfather. Come on, man.
That's right.
Come on, man.
He got a Happy Meal. He was happy.
Did it make you happy? Getting a steak make me happy.
Hey, how come everybody's
Especially
frozen on the
with,
screen,
yeah.
Jeff? Everybody's frozen.
We're not frozen.
Are
You're not frozen.
No, we're
Like,
working.
frozen.
Nope.
Oh, on my end,
The dean
everybody's
is
frozen.
skipping a little bit, but other than that, everything's good.
That's your high dollar
skipping.
Wi-Fi you got.
Yeah, that's the high
That's
dollar
right.
stuff.
If the internet's fired up as he is.
He's got that fiber optic that's running off of solar.
Yeah.
Hey, now don't get on solar. I'm all for solar, man. When I move to my
listen.
property, I'm going to be off grid, complete solar.
Man,
Yeah.
now listen, I live in the middle of nowhere, and I think they must have, I don't know, man, they must have used some Amish lines or something, right? But I would say, listen, the Amish are the bomb, man. I like the Amish. Those people, man, they work their butts off.
They're
But, yeah,
hard workers.
Dude,
They
you're,
are
You
hard
gotta
workers.
get that. You gotta get that Starlink.
You're on
man.
DSL.
You gotta get
You're
that
on
Starlink.
two wires still.
That's a nice
Hey,
internet.
But Rich, you and Jeff know what my internet is. It's like the bottom of the barrel, man. We've done it before. It's
Yeah, you got worse than cricket.
It is. It's worse than cricket. It is.
It's worse than
Hey,
straight
I'm
talk.
up here in on Highway 212 at the Indian Reservation, and I get better signal than you.
Oh man,
Hey,
it's
doesn't-
worse than like AOL when it first did. You know when you.
He's in
Well, that's what I
Missouri.
was just going to say. Dean, that's what I was just going to say. Don't you have an AOL email address still? I mean, you're still
Yes,
running an
yes.
AOL email
You've
address.
got mail. You've got mail.
No, but really, have you looked at Starlink?
Man, Jeff, you sounded just like the guy, man. Say that again.
You did too. You
You've
did.
got mail.
You did?
And he's using
sounded just
Prodigy
like
Internet.
Prodigy.
Net 10.
Oh, my
Net
God.
10.
Yeah, Net Zero. Remember was it Net Zero or Net? You maybe
Yeah,
it was
Net 0. The Net 10, Prodigy. And you've got mail.
Netscape.
Yeah.
14K dial-up.
Yeah, Sam, I am. You could get HughesNet, but there's only one problem with satellite internet. Your
Yeah.
upload sucks. Your download's okay, but you got that time frame from the up and down. That
No.
latency.
I'm not talking about the HughesNet. I'm talking about Starlink. Have you looked at the Starlink?
Oh, I go to Starlight.
They don't
There's a
offer
diner
it,
down
boy.
here, get a
Good
hamburger.
on both ends.
No.
They don't offer it in all the places in Boise, Idaho yet.
Yeah, it's that's the Elon Musk internet,
Well, TC.
and the satellites are a lot closer to the Earth, so it's a lot faster than the HughesNet.
Well, what he should do is Verizon and T-Mobile, some of these companies now have internet, a router that you stick in your house that runs off the mobile towers, unlimited. He should get that. If his cell
Yeah.
phone works there, then he should get that.
I have one of those, Jeff, for T-Mobile.
Do you?
Yeah, it works okay unless it's really busy. The tower's really busy, and then they start cutting you back on your signal and stuff. Yeah, they throttle you.
Yeah, but he lives in nowhere, Missouri, where he lives. Right, Salmon?
Yeah, nobody
the
else
only
is
one
on
that
his
has
tower.
it.
He's got a tower all to himself.
Yeah, he's got his own tower.
That's why Starlink would be great, because I mean I've seen guys out there on the road, they're getting like 80 to 100 megabits a second on the Starlink.
There you go. I get one.
Oh wow, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah, my
and
download's
it's unlimited.
yeah, my download's 1 gig.
Well, because are you in Civilization?
Yes, I'm a Civilization.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Well, you
I
say
have-
he was out
yeah.
there.
I have 1 gig
Yeah, you
internet
said-
service.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I have an AT&T hotspot, but I mean I get if the network's clear, because it still runs on the 4G LTE, I'll get like 45 megabits
Well, that's you know,
because it's on a cell.
I got to have the 1 gig service because Cool Trucking knows. I got a baseball team that lives here, just like Sandman.
Yes.
Cascade. I got a baseball team, so when
Yeah.
the whole team is playing, right? They're all on the internet streaming. You got to have something that can, and you got to have a really good Wi-Fi. So I got that. What is it?
Yeah, where'd Sandman go? I wanted to talk to Sandman.
2 or something. 11.8. I forget what it is.
I don't know. You took off.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, he probably passed over into South Dakota, and he don't have no internet either.
Well, I just left South Dakota. I made it to Montana, so.
Look, he was at the dean's house. Dean opened his window back there and handed him something.
Well, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah. You handed Cascade a Coke, and he went offline because he used your internet.
Yeah. Oh shoot, man. Well, you know what? I do have that T-Mobile. Cool Truckin was talking about, or TC. I do have that. That's what I tried to use earlier, and when I use that, I get all the feedback. I don't know what's wrong with it. And when I'm on that network, I can't get on Access either.
Yeah, I'm not happy with mine either. I'm ready to give it back.
Yeah, it's
Got to
terrible.
do Verizon. Get the Verizon one.
Let me see. I'm going to try.
Yeah,
to refresh
when I got my second phone, I thought, now what do I want, Verizon or AT&T? I picked AT&T, and I think I made a bad choice.
Well, I mean, I
Verizon
picked
to me is the
AT&T
best.
back in the day because they had unlimited hotspot, but unfortunately they don't offer that plan anymore. But I believe Verizon does, and they have a 5G hotspot,
Yes, they do.
Yes.
and it's unlimited. So I mean that'd be. I mean, it
Well, they
depends
sell it.
where you're at. Sometimes
Well, TC, they even got something better than the hotspot. They actually got a 5G router for home now. Off of their
Will that
cellular.
work for me, Jeff? Would that work for
Oh,
me?
I was just talking about being on the road.
No, I'm talking about for him at home, right? They actually have a 5G router.
Trying to get some more light in here.
Well, everybody's frozen on my screen.
You put yourself some solar panels up.
How can I fix that, Jeff?
What? They're frozen your screen? You're not froze.
Yeah.
You're not froze.
Yeah. I got 3, including me on the bottom, 2 on top. Everybody's frozen.
We're not froze.
Oh, you're still showing Sandman on there. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, I still have Sandman on there.
Yeah.
How do I unfreeze it?
You may have to refresh when they boot you
Yeah, you might
off.
have to refresh your screen.
Oh, let me
Yeah, I
try
wish
it.
Sandman wouldn't have left. I wanted to talk to him.
He usually does that when he knows the heat's going to be turned up. He takes off, right, Dean?
He does. He does. I'll be right back.
Oh, he refreshed.
Yeah.
He did what
Yeah,
TC told him not to do.
So anyway, Jeff, what was your whole show about? I missed over half of it. I mean, I shouldn't have took that nap.
Then you missed the debut of Clowney on the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Clowney won the Mega Millions. So,
Oh, yeah.
no sense. Throw your tickets away.
I need to get a hold of that clown too.
Yeah.
He owes me money.
You know, if there's only one winner, the cash option is like, was it like 400 and something million?
Yeah, something crazy.
That is crazy. Unbelievable.
Yeah, because who's gonna want to wait for the annuities for 30 years? I don't have that kind of time. I just give it to me all at once.
Well, you better.
That's
you
right. I
better
ain't
take
got
it
that
now.
much time to waste.
Yeah. I think I can manage with 470 million. It's all right.
If Cool Truckin' got that, he'd be off grid tomorrow.
Yeah, but you all get a chunk of it.
Yeah, he'd be off grid tomorrow, and he'd have his hot rod finally home, driving it down the street. Oh, we got somebody coming in here. What's up, Dean?
He's back.
Yeah, you're there.
Can you
What's
see
up?
us,
You
Dean?
guys are finally moving. Everybody's moving. Everybody's moving.
Oh, wait. We got your nemesis back. What's up, Sam, man?
Yeah, he heard you talking smack.
Yeah. Now he looks mad.
Now,
He
listen.
looks mad.
That is the modern era. That is the modern era Paul Bunyan right there. That is
Yeah.
Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan.
Looks like he's in his pickup truck.
Phone died. I had to go get my other one.
He's the only one I know that Kenworth makes a canopy above his head in a T680 so he can sit in the seat.
Well, yeah, that's why I got the 680 and not a different truck. Like the Dean's truck, my head's bouncing off the ceiling in Dean's truck, that low roof.
Right.
So you're like Dino with the Flintstones. When he got in the car, he stuck his head up over the top.
Yeah, that's me.
Man. So you gotta scrunch up when you get back in your cab.
Oh, that's why I got the 680. As I'm pretty comfortable in that.
Hey, Jeff, put that back up. Put that comment back up. I use my Samsung phone as a hotspot and have good Wi-Fi. See, now I mean, terrible feedback.
So you can always hotspot.
Terrible.
Yeah, but usually it's limited to like, I don't know, 10 or 15 gigs.
I got unlimited.
Yeah.
Well,
you
100
do? On your phone?
I got 100 gigabytes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You might as well call it
Yeah,
a. Well, I do have
on my
unlimited.
T-Mobile. But I had unlimited, and then they kept throttling me at 100, and it ticked me off, so I kept calling, and they said, okay, we're going to give you the real unlimited. Now they don't bother me no more. They never throttle me anymore.
Well, what
It
you
cost
do
me
is-
another $50 a month, but
Well,
it's
what you do with
worth it.
Verizon is you get the business plan. Then, business gets the data before the non-business.
How much more is that?
It's actually cheaper.
cost me an extra $50 a month for the real unlimited plan for T-Mobile.
So
Yeah,
Jeff, you got like 6 lines. How much does that run you a month without the phone charges?
I got 10
The
lines.
phone.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
I got 10 lines.
You see him rubbing his forehead, you don't want the answer to that question.
It's just under 500.
I
Okay,
believe it.
is that with phones?
Yeah, it's 10. It's
What's
10
that?
lines.
Wow,
No, I
I'm
know, but I
almost
mean,
paying that much for my
do you
2
have
phones.
financed phones in that number?
Well, how many?
Do you have financed phones in that number?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one finance phones, and I pay like right at 100 for one, and then almost 300 for the other.
Yeah, so that's that extra $8 here, $12 here, because everybody knows nowadays you go get a phone, they just finance it in there. They rather do that than you pay it off. But
You're right.
but see,
I was going to pay cash, but they talked me out of it.
yeah, so I got
what
some of them.
That's what cheeses me off about these phone companies, man. You pay for unlimited internet already. So why does it matter if you're using your phone as a hotspot to hook up to whatever,
What?
your laptop
Right.
or whatever? It's still the same internet.
Right.
It's crazy. They're going to nickel and dime you.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a way to boost their profits because
I have to let you go. I got to
they're
feed the
using the
cat.
data
I'll let you guys go.
All right, cool, trucking.
All right. Thanks for letting me
See you,
in.
man.
Yep.
See
Thanks
ya.
for showing up.
Bye.
Yeah, so my Verizon bill, I can't compare it to other ones because I got 3 or 4 lines I pay for. The rest of them are paid, but there's 10 lines on there.
Right. I got 6 lines. 7. I know I have 7 lines.
That's because me
But I
and you
don't have
have
any
baseball
financed
teams.
phones. I don't have any financed phones. They're all the phones are paid for, or either been paid for. Or, they're not through the Verizon plan, and my bill's like $300 a month.
See, TC Boggs is laughing, but if Sanborns come over here, we could have a good baseball game or basketball because we got the teams. They're already formed.
We both got teams.
Yeah, we got teams.
I got a basketball team with a bench ready to
Right.
go right out
And
of the
me
house.
too. So we got substitute players.
Man,
Good game.
so you got people waiting in the bullpen. That's great.
Yes.
The dean,
That is
he's just
correct.
sitting there all by his little lonesome.
Yeah, the Dean's just hanging out,
Man, I got a problem, man. You should hear what I'm hearing, man. It's like it's just a bunch of gibberish. I got so much feedback.
Man.
You got mail.
But to Dean's points
Look at-
earlier with
I'm
fuel
hearing myself
surcharge and
talk.
rates, you know, we should be shooting for the stars on every negotiation, and being told no, and hopefully we can land at the moon
But see,
on every
if
single
everybody,
call.
if the drivers were educated and everybody followed kind of the same template, then there wouldn't be the low rate per mile. It doesn't matter how many loads were there,
Right.
right? So let's say you go, okay, let's act like that number's really accurate on the DAT. Let's say it says 210. Add in 80 cents, that's 290. Everybody's negotiations should start at 290 or above. And if they did that, no one's hauling it for less than 290.
Well, if everybody did that, we wouldn't be hauling it for less than 290. But even if there was only a few people that were taking it for less than that, we'd still get 270.
We would still get, right.
Because that one truck that's running it for less than that, it is going to be a while down their phone call list before they get to them.
Right. And if they keep doing that, when that truck breaks, they're out of business anyway, and slide them out of the way. And once you get through of all those folks that do that, then the rates would be back up where they should be.
Well, I mean, the only way you're going to get that kind of conformity in the rates, though, is if you belong to something like a labor union or something. All right?
Yeah, you're right.
Because
That's
that's the whole point about being independent contractors. You guys are to cut each other's throat to get that load.
Dean,
it's a
you
race
don't
to the
have
bottom.
to ask to call.
What's that?
Yes,
Well,
caller. May we help you?
Yes, can I speak to Sandstone, please?
Go ahead, Sandstone.
The modern era.
What's going on, Dean?
Is that you?
What's going on, Dean? Your internet, your AOL internet working great for you, or what?
Oh, that's Dean on the phone. Good to hear him.
Yeah, it's Dean on the phone. He wants to talk to Paul Bunyan.
I can't hear it. Oh, you don't have me patched in.
Yeah, I got it in my headset here, Dean. He can't hear you guys.
Dude's having a hard time. I feel bad for him.
So play.
He's having a hard night.
Get on your computer, Dean. We're going to teach Dean some technology. Get on your computer, Dean. Play. Look. Play the YouTube channel through your little computer on low, and talk to us through the phone, and you'll be able to hear it. Well, you're going to get echo now, though.
He's going to get an echo, and he's going to.
So if you had a headset hooked to your computer, you could listen that way. Dean's, we got to get him some technology.
He's technologically challenged.
Yeah, we can hear you. TC, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't hear the YouTube.
I can
Kinda like
kind
the
of
Charlie
basically
Brown band
hear him.
What's going on, man? Damn, Gina. This is terrible, bro. This is horrible.
Dean, you need to get back in the truck and get to the truck stop because, man, this working from home ain't cutting it for you.
Tell him to get down to the truck stop just so he can get the Wi-Fi.
Right.
Go get that pilot Wi-Fi.
Hey,
It'll be
drive an
upgraded.
hour to the Petro so we can talk to you.
Here, let me try this again. So I'm going to try and actually connect to.
Get off the Wi-Fi and use
Okay.
the Verizon.
All right, so I'm on my right network. All right, so look, maybe it's when I click on something here. So I click on this link. It's going to say allow guest, eCam, and microphone.
Yeah.
Don't allow, allow. Allow?
wow.
Okay, that's what I thought. So what's going on, man? Join.
You run the gambit on here on the show. It's from trucking news to tech support, man. It's fantastic.
Say something, D.
TC Boggs, man, he just dimed me out. I heard that, man. I heard it.
D's back.
Help, bro.
Look, he took his pin out. His pin was right here. Now it's gone. He had to write down instructions, TC Boggs. He had to write down instructions.
Well, no, I actually thought maybe that was interference or something. Maybe it was like that tinfoil or something.
Oh, he's going back to the 70s. We had tinfoil on your rabbit ears.
That's right. You gotta move the rabbit ears a little bit. You gotta get that signal coming in.
You're making me dizzy, TC. Oh my gosh.
Hold it. Don't move. Don't move.
We control the vertical. We
All right,
control
D.
the horizontal.
Is it working?
All right, Yuppie. Yeah, you're working, Yuppie. What'd you want to say?
Come on.
You wanted to say something to me.
Oh. Well, no, I was just calling to talk smack.
Yes, he did want to say something that you didn't know
You
about.
did.
Here's what he wanted to tell you, Rich. The Yuppie has given up Starbucks green tea frappuccinos with the sissy stick. He gave those up because he knew you were a stockholder.
Hey, listen. Hey, I haven't had a green tea frappuccino in a long time. I don't know.
But he's still
making me sick, you know. So listen, I
But
drink
he's still-
a lot of water now. That's the thing. I don't know.
well, yeah, but he's still going after the rainbow lollipops.
Oh, get out of town.
Oh, he's getting a unicorn lollipops?
Get out of town.
Well, I mean,
See, this
you
is the,
had to
you
give
know,
up the green tea and upgrade to a man's drink on a vanilla chai latte, right?
Vanilla chai latte.
vanilla. Oh, man. I think my daughter gets that actually, something like that. I don't know. I asked them what they want, and they say, "Well, Dad, it's like 7 pumps this, like 4 of this." Geez, you know what? You go order because I'm.
Yeah, you go into McDonald's. I'll take that with 20 pumps of sugar, 30 pumps of this, 40 pumps of that. Like,
Yeah, because they'll tell me, "Well, Dad, I want like caramel drizzle and a little bit of this." Huh? What? Okay, y'all go up there. You order. Yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, you just get to pay.
You're getting a container of a
Exactly.
creamer and 2 Splenda packs. Be happy with that.
Yeah, and what they don't tell me is it's probably like an extra $1 per little drizzle, and I'm like, oh, geez, it's expensive today, you know.
right.
So,
So
what's the
And
other
that's how
thing
you want to
we
pay
wanted
$10
talk
for a
about?
cup
So we
of
talked
coffee.
about fuel surcharge. What was the other thing, Jeff, that we were going to talk about? Well, let's say, okay, look at right. You'll like this one, Jeff. Here, let me, so we can.
Oh
I
yeah,
had a
let's
bunch of
let's
technical-
get personal here, Dean. Yeah, put her down.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, come on, man. This is going to be a Kodak moment. Who remembers that? If you remember
This
that,
is going to get serious.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait a
Kodak.
minute.
Yeah. The
All right,
Polaroid.
listen. But hey, let's take this right. So, and Sam,
We're
Mann
getting
and I
serious.
talked. Okay, we are getting serious. So check this out. If you got fuel surcharge, let's say, somebody out there is making 50 a mile, right? But you take that 80 cents out. What are you hauling for that? What are you hauling that freight for now?
$1.70.
Right. And you and I talked about this. Sam. Look, even on the spot market, you can still get that all day, every day. If you can't get that, then. But look, and I'm not picking on nobody, but look, you have to run your numbers, and you can't run them once, you can't run them twice, and you also should give them. Listen, give your numbers to somebody who will push back. Isn't that right, Sam, man? Wouldn't you agree with that?
We push back on each other. You and I push back on each other every day, at least every week.
We argue like we're married. We
TC
do.
Boggs,
We
you
argue.
want to get in on this action?
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm not here to judge. I mean, what 2 grown men are doing virtually, it's not my business.
Yeah,
No,
not my
but
business
let's
either.
make one thing clear. No. But let's make one thing clear. He's in a different state, and I'm in a different. We're just arguing. Nothing. Let's just make that. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah. But he does like rainbow lollipops.
He loves that
see-
sissy stick.
I am getting, this is terrible. I'm gonna have a complex after this whole deal.
No, but Dean, you're absolutely right. So let's get serious for a moment. Like, so know your numbers, run your numbers constantly. Every week, be refreshing yourself on what your cost of operation is throughout this particular week, this particular series of weeks. I tend to run 3 weeks at a time. So I like to track it to see what that month is going to look like and be looking at that constantly. And if I don't, I've got months that my cost of operation by the mile is $2.50, and I've got months that it's 70 cents.
Yeah, I
So
mean, look at it.
what
It'll
gives?
fluctuate.
Like rate per mile does not fucking matter. If I can run, I could legitimately look at my numbers in my books and say I can run for 70 cents a mile because I have for an entire month.
But so let me ask all you guys. So let me ask you this, and seriously, I just thought about this, so I'm just asking. So let's say you have $2.50 a mile, but let's say that $2.50 a mile is comprised of many different facets, many different numbers that make up $2.50 a mile, right? So if said company removes all of these benefits, if you will, that make up the $2.50, what are we?
Yeah, the
left with?
accessorials.
Right. So, and the reason I say that is because on the spot market we don't have that. Like you're not getting anything. What you see, what you get, or what you see in negotiating is what you're left with, right? So, but I'm in control of my business that way. Would you agree with that, Jeff? So on the spot market, I'm in control of my business. What I don't want is another hand in the cookie jar, because if they come in and start taking, and it becomes repetitive, I could actually end up making a lot less money at the end of the day or end of the month. Would you agree?
Yes, you could. You could.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, if fuel drops, so if you're working for company X, Y, or Z, that is giving you fuel surcharge plus your percentage of line haul, and you're at $1.30 a mile, right? You're making $1.30 a mile to the truck, and the maintenance is covered by the company because of the way the lease and everything is all structured, right? But if fuel drops to $2.50 a mile, what are you left with? What are you left with? Because the fuel surcharge is gone. The money that you were getting in fuel surcharge, you're not getting anymore.
Well, you're just
so whatever that number would be.
Right. You're just getting the base rate, whatever that base rate is. And so think about it. If the base rate is something, whatever it is, $1.50, $1.60, doesn't even matter. If you just run the numbers and you're basing that on 10,000 miles, you're going to have $17,000 at $1.70 right at the end of the month. Right. That's a lot less. I mean, look at even now when times are tough, I know you can do a lot better than that. I mean, am I saying? Look, here's the other thing people say too, right? And Sandman and I have argued about this till the cows have turned purple. But listen, at the end of the day, contract freight versus spot market freight. It's so contract freight, in my opinion only. That's a salary position, right? You are somebody's employee. If you want to go out and work the spot market is 100% commission, and there's no glass ceiling, right? None. You can make as much as you want or as little as you want. But at the end of the day, why are salespeople paying that at any occupation in America? Because it's a very tough job and that's guaranteed. You will always make more money on the spot market over time, i.e. commission, than you will on hourly and salary, hands down.
Yes, you will.
So the problem that many people face with that, though, is they don't know their numbers and they don't have a budget that they can work within. And when times are lean, like we're working into and haven't even seen the bottom of yet, they can't operate because their expenses are too high.
Right, because they don't know the numbers. They go out of business, or they go back to what they were doing before.
Which costs them more money.
Would cost them more money.
Flip-flopping around costs you more money.
Yes, it does.
But the problem is this economy, we haven't seen this in the U.S. for 50 years. Not since Jimmy Carter. Back when we had stagflation.
Right.
I mean, because 2019 was bad because the rates were bottoming out, but at least fuel was reasonable, right? But now the rates are bottoming and fuel has doubled. So, I mean, this is...
No, this is worse than COVID.
Everything for our trucks is going up. A $300 tire is $600. You know, labor rates are going up.
In 30 years, this is the worst in trucking when you look at fuel prices and rates.
Yeah.
And inflation.
Yeah.
And if you can make it through this, you pretty much make it through anything.
Well, you're right. I mean, you know, this to me
but
is
you got to know. But you got to know your business. You can't be out here in this time frame and what's coming around the corner and not know your business. And if you don't know your business, you're going to find out your business.
Here's what I'm looking at, though. I mean, the spot market is essentially the overflow from the contracted,
not necessarily
from the contracted carriers, right?
No,
a large portion of it is, but not all of it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, but not going after that contracted freight while the economy's shrinking and the freight supply is going along with the economy. If you don't get yours now and you're relying on that spot market, I mean, it just seems to be like a lake that's drying up. You know what I mean? It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you don't take advantage of it while you can, about maybe trying to get a contract rate. I know it's hard to do when you're a solo operation. I get that. I get that.
So there's arguments to be made for your position on that. But so what contract freight does is it makes you run the same year over year over year over year. You're going to run the same amount of miles because you need a certain amount of money to run your operation, right? And those rates are fairly consistent in relation to fuel. Your bottom line is fairly consistent in relation to fuel. What the problem is with guys that go into the spot market is they go into the spot market during good times and they run just enough to make the same amount of money that they would have been making had they stayed in the contract freight world. And then when rates fall, they have no reserves to bleed off of, right? So they end up going out of business or going back to contract freight. If you run your business the same way during good times as during bad times, you will build nest eggs to absorb down times.
Right, but you don't run. But you don't run from it. And that's where people make a mistake. They run from it and they lose a lot of money.
Right. So you can't. So you leave the spot market. Hey, Michael Dow put up a good comment there. He said,
Here, let me put that up. Hold on, I'll put it up.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing what a lot of people don't do, one word, and all military people know, discipline.
That's right. 100%.
That one right there?
Yes. And look, that is a great comment. Here's why. If you know numbers, I'm sure you have taken your numbers to figure out when I am driving my truck, how much am I getting paid? Let's just say the number is $100 an hour, right? So if it's $100 an hour for you to drive the truck, why in the world would we be satisfied with $25, $30, $40 or $50 for detention? If I'm making $100 to drive it and I'm babysitting your load while I'm on the road, shouldn't I make $100 an hour to sit there and babysit it at the dock? Or waiting for the shipper to honor the appointment time or receiver? I mean, there's no difference. And he's exactly right. If you know it per hour, that'll,
absolutely.
For sure.
But this is where we come, even the contract freight. Even if the rate is $100 an hour that the brokers are getting and these mega carriers are getting, they always take a cut. Even the mega carriers. Even T.C. Boggs' company, right? they're getting $150 an hour, $100 an hour, and they give him 40, 50, whatever they give him, 25. They're keeping a lot of it. And the same thing
Right.
with some of these companies that are doing the rebates, right? They give 7 or 8 or 10 cents if the guy fuels at a truck stop, but they're getting $1.20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of money that's being skimmed off the top.
There is. For
Well,
sure.
and
before it
there's
goes
and
to
there's
the actual person that owns the truck.
yeah, and Dean brought up detention. There's nothing more than there's no bigger issue I have with this industry than detention. If my truck costs me $100 an hour to operate, like if that's my billing cost, right? When you were talking about just without comment, right? So if my cost is $100 an hour, then when I'm sitting at a shipper or receiver being held in detention beyond my control, then the only discount that I should give them is the amount of fuel that I'm going to burn in an hour. And at $5 a gallon, how many miles am I going to run and at 6 miles to the gallon, at most, I'm going to give them.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give them that. I mean, they've already made money off you from the fuel surcharge except on the rate. So why would we discount more? We're already discounting, you know? And so,
Well, I mean,
go back-
I'm just saying, I would argue that the
Right.
cost, my hourly cost might be higher than that, right? Or should be higher than that, right? So I'm just saying that the only discount they should get is whatever I'm not burning in fuel. And if I'm idling my truck, I'm still burning fuel. So they need to compensate me part of that, right?
well,
So
yeah, they need to compensate
It's,
you. But
again, it's leverage. And right now we ain't got it.
Tommy,
Well,
thanks for the
but we
cash
all
app.
have leverage.
but what we have
leverage.
What we have is an industry full of people that don't know the cost to operate their truck as a business. They know how much they want to make to take to their house, and that's what they think they need to have. But but then they have an engine blow up, and they're taking out loans because they haven't built up their maintenance reserves.
Well, think about it like this, guys. If you told me, look, there's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube, and again, if you look at guys that have been and gals that have been in sales, you will understand what I'm going to say, and hopefully I make sense here. But if you just change the verbiage from truck driver, rate per mile, revenue per day, and you just changed everything and said it's commission, number one, you get rid of probably 50% of the drivers, because most people don't go into sales because they're scared of 100% commission, right? Oh, I can't make
Right.
it. But that's because they don't believe in themselves, right? Because again, you don't take yourself seriously. How would somebody on the other side of the table take you seriously, right? Look, if you're on the right track, Sam, but think about this. So when it comes to detention and everything else, look, and you guys know how I operate, Jeff and Rick, you guys know how I operate. I'm not going to cut anybody in their brakes. Has that cost me some freight? Maybe it has. But at the end of I still have people that call me back and say, do you have any trucks? Look, I'm just not going to discount anything because I'm not going to discount myself. And it's all mindset. Jeff and I, you and I have talked recently, Robert K., right? It's all about mindset.
Yep. Here's the deal, and this is why it works. You have one of the most unfuel efficient trucks on the road, right? You have high cost. You made it through COVID. You're making it through this. Why? Because you have the right mindset and skill set, which a lot of the people out here do not have both. And if you don't have both, it's really tough.
The mindset, the work set,
and you know what you're worth.
I think
you know your worth.
Jeff, I think this topic would be really good for a whiteboard session to break down the pros and the cons on like the spot market, the contract freight, or the. It depends where you're at. I mean, are you an owner operator? Are you a lease op? Are you getting all the money? Are you having to share the money? You know, I mean, are you getting a percentage or cents per mile? Everyone's going to have a different type of strategy that's going to benefit benefit
Right.
gets spit it out. You know what I mean?
Well, no, and I agree with you, TC.
There you go,
Look, I'm
TC.
not trying to rain on anybody's parade here. Everybody's going to do things different.
I'm on
You
the,
know what I mean?
it's the whiteboard.
You know. Your service, right? They both go in, yeah. See, look at Michael Dow. Jeff, put that last comment up there. But Michael
Dow Brothers.
Is it?
Here we go.
Yeah, that
There
last
you go,
comment,
Michael.
very last comment.
Value your
so-
time, but more importantly, value your service. They both go hand in hand. At the end of the day, people will pay for service. They will.
They will pay. And look at so
They will.
Again, and I use a lot of sales analogies here. But look at when you're in sales, you want to, it's value proposition. What am I getting? Right? What am I getting in return for this value? Right. So if there's no value, then I don't see to pay anything. And people say, well, how do you set yourself apart? It's really hard on the spot market, right? That's why I say rapport is more important on the spot market than relationships, because you are not in front of them. If I was in front of them, then I would try to build a better relationship. Like if I could have this type of conversation with the broker, maybe they would take me more serious. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know.
But,
maybe darts at me.
I have brokers calling me all day long because we do good service. And they ask, hey, do you have a truck in this area? And they know they're going to have to pay because our contractors, they know the business and they charge accordingly. So they know if they call us and we got a truck, they know what they're going to get hit with. But
Yeah.
they call all day long.
Well, look, it's a known fact that all these apps and everything, it's look, I saw it on Frank's logo, but all these apps are tracking every bid you've ever put in there, and they know that computer knows what you will bid and what you essentially take the load for. So if you bid cheap, they're only going to give it to you on the cheap.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to
Trend.
Going back to what you said earlier, Dean, I think in this economy, the only thing that's going to save your bacon is what you said earlier. You have to develop whoever you're getting the load from, either from the shipper or a broker. You need to have that relationship because you're going to have people out there cutting your throat on the rates. You know,
Right.
that's
Right,
happening.
TC.
That's happening. So, I mean, the only real strategy that's going to save you is that relationship you have built up with whoever you were servicing their customers on. You know what I mean?
Right, and we have that relationship. You know, a few of our drivers, they use the same broker, and we got a handful that the rate cons come in daily from them, and they're good rates.
Yeah.
But why do they keep getting that rate? Because they know the service they're getting. They don't have to babysit that load. They don't have to worry that their customer's not going to get, serviced. So
Well, and on that note, with all the tracking apps that they have, they know exactly what our trucks and how we're running. They know exactly how many miles a day we're putting in. They know what our averages are. They have all of that data, and so I get phone calls and emails every day. Will you service this lane for me? We want to sign you up as a carrier. Because they want good service. They want reliable trucks. They want to know that when they book a truck, that truck is going to deliver that load on time or early.
Yeah,
communication, right? They know you communicate.
Yeah, you have to have that relationship right now because that fly-by-night express is going to come in there and try to cut your throat on the rates and take that customer away from you. So the only thing that you can rely on is service.
Yeah, I mean,
And
look,
that's-
it's hard.
I don't know what else you could do to differentiate because you have to stand out in that broker's eyes, right?
Right.
You have to stand out.
So
in the crowd.
when you ask, and on the spot market, when you ask for the moon, you better deliver, right?
And
if you deliver,
Yeah.
they're going to call you back and say, "Will you run this again for that same rate?"
Yeah, but again, like, look at all we're doing. I think some people overthink it. Look, all we're doing is taking freight from one location to the next, right? We're not making world decisions here. I mean, no one's dying, that stuff, right? But look, you have nothing to lose by going for the moon. One, and number two, look, everybody talks about building relationships with the broker. but TC is right, and I don't think I mentioned what you said, but I'll take credit. It's about time I get some credit around here. Anyway, I'm just. But look, I think if you go to the shipper, so what load you're on that you went through the broker, when you go to the shipper, just stand out, right? I mean, look, talk professional, whatever it is, right? Just go do the job. You never know when that shipper may or may not call that broker and say, hey, this carrier was great. I mean, it might work, but I think that's your best opportunity, unless you have a couple of Jeffs where there's 15, 20 trucks, 25 trucks, because a one truck, one trailer guy, you're just not going to pull enough loads. It's going to be tough to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, and here's a commercial break. If you want to look like a professional driver, owner operator, like the Dean, call 1-800.
Feedback.
I think that's
Sam.
Woo! Feedback.
I thought I was going to have some difficulties again.
Is it me?
Got feedback. It is you.
Yeah, it is you.
Thank God it wasn't the Dean. Jeez, man.
I wasn't TC either.
If I had to fix that, I'd be here all night, man.
Yeah, the echo. It should be gone.
Yeah, here's the other thing, too. Think about this, guys. We're all falling asleep. But look, think about this. Detention is $25 to $30, right? $25 or $30 or $40.
Right.
Think about this. I know company drivers. I'll speak for myself. I got more than that when I was a company driver. How on earth are we getting paid? Or why do we allow them to give us $25 or $30 an hour? $40? You got to be kidding me. That makes zero sense. I mean,
well,
if that's what you're getting with your own equipment, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, also, to set yourself apart, depends what ELD you use. We can send tracking links. The software you use, we know where the drivers are at all times, how far away they are, when they're going to be there. All this can be relayed to the broker, so they know. So the guys that aren't using the technology, maybe the brokers don't want to mess with them because they don't want to sit there and have to babysit.
Right. Well, and you
make it easy for them, absolutely.
Right.
What we talked about factoring earlier, Jeff. You talked about we don't know what's going to happen, but one thing is for sure: you need to protect yourself at all costs. And if you're not doing those credit checks, don't waste your time chasing that money, right?
And having the cash flow now instead of 30,
Right.
40, 50, 60 days later is important.
Absolutely. Man, TC looks like
I booked a load Friday.
Sandman's going to pass out.
No,
Sandman's, it turned dark where he's at. He's ready to go to sleep. TC
Look at
fell
Sandman.
asleep.
Yeah, but just on this
That
detention,
zero's
can you
doing
guys hear
nothing
me?
for you, brother.
What's that?
He's drinking Coke Zero,
You guys can hear
doing
me?
nothing for him.
No, I got too high of a tolerance. I think with the ADD, it does the exact opposite. It mellows you out.
It's got ADD in it?
Jumble the words around like Scrabble. I'll have something in there.
Nevada says AB5 has a business-to-business exemption. I don't even know about AB5.
He's just trying to pick up.
We're not even going to go there. We're not even going to go there.
AB5 means nothing.
We're not even going to go there.
Nevada and I have been going back and forth for quite some time about this AB5 thing, and we both have strong opinions on it, and we'll see how the courts will vet out on the lawsuits and who's right.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I
know
know
them keep hitting their own button, man.
He's busting your balls there, TC.
That's what we do. We're truck drivers. That comes with the territory.
That's right.
So we've already in this because everybody's falling asleep. Sandman's about
Yeah.
sleeping.
Oh, Sammy, look, he's got lines under his eyes. Man,
Yeah.
where did your
He's
wife
got
put
big
you out in the
bags.
car? She kicks you out in the car. You sleeping in the car tonight, bro?
He is. They ran out of room at the Taj
Hey,
Mahal.
listen, she says he doesn't even rate to sleep on the couch. He's got to sleep in
No.
Oh, you better
gotta sleep in
slide
the
that seat
car.
all the way down.
He's sleeping in the car.
Heck yeah, he can't even pull out. Hey, listen, he can't even get that sleeper couch and sleep there. He's got to go in the car. Take
You can
your
go
Paul
sleep at the
Bunyan,
dean's
buddy.
house. He's got a 4-bedroom home. He's got plenty of room.
Yeah,
There you go.
Come on, man. I'll charge you $150 a night, brother.
What a deal! What a deal!
Hey, man, that's what friends are for, brother.
It's only
But,
old X
you know,
with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
150
like you were
bucks for
talking about
crappy
detention,
Wi-Fi.
Dean. Dean, you were talking
Man, I
about
wanted-
detention.
Yeah,
You
go
were
ahead.
talking about detention, right? So I booked a
Yeah.
load Friday. I show up and they're like, "Oh, we're not going to be able to load you until this afternoon." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." So I go out to the truck. I call the broker. He's like, "Oh, we'll pay you detention." I says, "Well, what's your detention rate?" And he's like, $40. I says, "I ain't staying. I'm out of here." That's not even. That's an insult. That is an absolute insult.
Right.
So we negotiated something significantly higher than that, and he paid it.
Yeah, you can. You know, listen. If you ask, you'll get it more often than not. You don't be,
Yeah.
you know, threatening or a jerk. You just, hey, listen, just be firm. Listen, be firm, but be fair. If you're firm and fair, they can never argue, right? And that's
No,
my
and that's
issue
what
with some of these brokers.
that's what I told him. I
Just be
said,
firm, but
I said,
be fair.
I was really cool with him. I was like, "Look, man," I says, I don't want to get into a big dispute with you or anything." I says, "But I can't stay here for $40 an hour." I says, "That's not commensurate to the cost of of my operation. You need to come up with something that's closer to commensurate." If I had to give you a number, my number would be north of 75, but I'll work with you. But 40 is not going to work. It's not going to work at all. I said, "I will leave and I will go find a different load."
That's right. Hey, listen,
right.
Jeff, DJ Bolin put a good comment. He says, "It's unfortunate some truck drivers don't know math and can't read." Well, listen, you know my response is that reading is fundamental, but it's not required in trucking. That's just a fact.
Well,
We
and so
always attract the best and brightest on the industry.
And right in this day and age, understanding English isn't either.
Well, exactly. I mean, hey, you know,
Dude,
listen.
I delivered-
Right?
I delivered a load in Michigan of honey from Minnesota, and I got there early. I made my delivery, and the dock worker come out there and handed me a gallon of high quality, good honey, and said, "Thanks for speaking English."
All right, TC,
He didn't say
you're
thanks
solo.
for showing
Go
up
ahead.
on time.
Go ahead,
He said,
TC.
"Thanks for speaking English."
Give him the clowny.
That's right. You get the double.
Oh, wait a
There
minute.
you
Wait
go.
a minute. Here we go.
Jeremy, you get the double stack.
But we talked earlier tonight. We talked about brokers, or not brokers, but dispatch services, and surrounding yourself with people that cover your weaknesses, right? So if you're not great at negotiating, maybe a dispatch service is right for you. If you don't know your numbers and you're not good at figuring your numbers out, then pay somebody to do it. It's part of the cost of operation. Donald Trump or Bill Gates doesn't run his company by himself. They put people around them that are good at the things they're not good at.
Right.
Yeah, but let me ask you guys a question though. So think about it, and it's it's kind of, it may be a rhetorical question, but think about this: if you don't know your numbers, how would a dispatcher or a dispatching service know? And furthermore, if you want to hire a dispatching service, right? I'm not talking about the one guy who works for a company that you have, for lack of a better term, hands-on experience, right? Where you can call them and work it out. I'm talking about a dispatch service that you don't know. Shouldn't you do a fact finder on them, i.e., find out what you know and don't know about transportation? Ask them some questions, because what's the most expensive commodity that we have as drivers, owners? It's not our fuel. It's not our tires. It's not our insurance. It's time. Time is the most expensive commodity we have, period, hands down. And if the dispatching company does not understand, then the loads that they book, they may run you 600 miles, but they may stretch it over 2 days, right? 2.5 days. That is not going to be a good business plan for you and your business. If you don't understand that and you don't know your numbers, a dispatching service will not be able to help you.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Dean. And so put people around yourself that cover your weaknesses, whatever they are. I'm completely okay with negotiating my own loads, right? I feel completely confident that I can make a rate that's going to produce a profit for my company, right? And for my truck. It's not for me. It's not going in my pocket. It's going in the business's pocket. And then the business has the opportunity to pay me something for my services. But nobody goes to work to get paid by the mile. Very few people like to go do piecemeal jobs because, there's not a lot of return in that. What you sell is your time. It's time.
No, so correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. Would you? But okay, well, maybe a better question is, would you agree with this, Jeff? Look at a lot of people, and I agree with you, man. Listen, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room, right? But you need to put smarter people around you to help you become better. But here's the problem in trucking. Number one, the margins are small. Number two, people grow. People think that because they're a business owner, I own a trucking company, that I need to hire all these people. But what happens when you do that and you have too much going out, not enough coming in, and you're going to go broke? A lot of times, you just need to keep it simple and do the work yourself, right? Do the work. I'm not saying that. Look at me. I don't know a crap about being a mechanic. I don't know anything. But you know what? I take the truck to the shop. But where I can do things, the things that I do know, and even if I don't, but I can learn it. But the mechanics, I don't have a prayer. But those are the things that I need to save my money on. But I don't need to spend money and grow this business into something I can't afford, right?
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
They go buy offices. They go do all these things, and then they just bury themselves in debt.
So
I
believe you're absolutely right. Margins are pretty thin in this industry. So I'll just use myself as an example. So I pay somebody to do my books for me because it saves me a lot of my own time, a lot of time, and they get done better than if I did them myself. I can do them myself, but that's a lot of time that I would rather spend with my family out here playing with the bikes and the kids and all that stuff like I did today, right? So when I have downtime. So, but what I can't do with margins as thin as they are is I can't pay an accountant and a dispatch service and X, Y, or Z for compliance. You can't do it all. You can't outsource it all and just be a driver and make it in this industry. You have to do things that business owners have to do. You have to pick up some of that weight.
Right.
A majority.
Look, Southbound put a good comment on there too, Jeff. See, that is a currency of slaves. I've always said this to you, Rich. You know what I'm going to say. But look, I try to run a clean business. So clean business, right? Because during the tough times, we can all pretty much, I mean, you should at least be able to cover your costs, right? I'm not saying you're going to make profit, but, and that's why I say, if you look at this business as a commission business, right? If you're selling anything, a widget, doesn't matter. You may not make anything for the first 10 months of the year, but at the last 2 months of the year, whether it's selling something or trucking, you may, all of a sudden the rates may change. You may make a boatload of money. You may make $40,000 each month and make 80 grand, and there you go, right? So if you look at the commission business, one, you're tighter with your money, you'll do your money a lot differently, and you'll be more careful, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's all good points. It's something else I have been preaching on my channel is to specialize. You're going to have to think outside the box a little bit, maybe getting out of your comfort zone. If you're a flatbed, you may want to look maybe dabbling in an overdimensional. Make sure you have all your endorsements so you can take advantage of all the loads getting put in front of you. It's like me, just having all the endorsements. I have a doubles and triples. I never used it. When I started my career, I went ahead and got tanker and hazmat, and I was hauling dry van. But here in my latter half of my career, I'm pulling a cryogenic tanker. So it's success is the intersection of opportunity and preparedness. And if you don't have either one of those, you can't take advantage of the opportunity. So,
well,
do yourself a favor
SoCal has the best saying when it comes to being prepared. He says, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? Or be ready so you don't have to get ready. Right? That really is about time, right? If you are ready, you never have to get. So if you're organized, you never get unorganized. You can never be too organized, right? And I see that. I've seen people in sales. It doesn't matter, but they all, So you have to do productive work, because you can be productive, but are you doing work that will produce results? I don't know.
Right.
So again, it goes back to that stack of invoices. If you're calling, it's not producing more revenue. If it's not, then you're actually going backwards.
Well, the best thing to do is streamline the business, right? Streamline your business so that way you don't need 10 or 15 people to run it for you.
Well, but to that comment, Jeff. So I was talking about maybe a dispatch service is right for one guy and not for another. Maybe hiring an accountant is right for one guy and not for another, right? You have streamlined in different ways. You use the companies that you use you have put people around you that help you serve your contractors more efficiently so that you can have more contractors under one person. Right? Because if you had 50, you couldn't do 50, but you can do 25 or 30 as one guy, right?
Right.
Because you streamlined your company and put people around you that cover areas of labor that you don't want to put in, right?
Well,
it's no different
that goes back to
than dispatching or factoring or using an accountant or any of that.
Right.
But you can't put it all off on somebody else. Unless you're Knight Swift or JB Hunt, you can't put it all off on somebody else.
Well, and that's why if you look at most of the business people that are famous or have a lot of money, they surround themselves with smart people in that business, right? They go out and find.
Well, and I like Dean's comment. If you're the smartest person in the room, you better find a bigger room.
Right.
Because you're not going to be challenged and grow.
Unless you have a competitor.
Well, yeah, that helps,
right.
but then you got to figure out. But you still then have to figure out what they're doing that you're not doing that makes them be more competitive against you.
All right.
Right. There's still
that's why I'm saying you need to think about specializing at this point.
Correct. That's where that specializing comes in. Right?
Take an example. I mean, I've been doing tanking for a while now, right? So this is my current situation. With the cryogenics, there is no brokerage. Right? We are working directly with the suppliers. There are no load boards to pull from. All right. So that may be, you just have to think outside the box a little bit. Like, if everyone's fighting on that load board, then maybe you need to get a situation where you're not reliant on a load board. You can work for a shipper or a supplier directly, depending on what they got going on. Right. The freight is out there, but you have to be a little bit more open-minded of what you want to be able to haul, or willing to learn to haul.
Well, so
You know.
I would take it a step further though, TC. So look, I heard the same thing in sales, right? Well, I hate the phone. Listen, the phone is a tool to make money, right? How you look at that and how internalize that is up to you. But when I look at the load board, I don't look necessarily as I'm fighting against a bunch of drivers, right? To me, it's just a name and a number and a reason to have a conversation. That's really it. And I will keep calling, and Sandman knows, Jeff knows, I will keep calling until I get my, or at least close to it. But again, I think it's mindset. So, we've all seen people that have done really well in sales, made a lot of money. But I would ask yourself to think about this. What sets those top sales guys apart from someone else? It's just you just have to have the will to do the drill, number one.
Right.
And you know how they get that extra money? Because they ask, right? Every time we call on that low, you're selling yourself. And I would encourage everybody. There's a book out there called Colors, right? So you have red, yellow, green, and orange. If you just understand those colors, you can read people a lot better and a lot quicker. Okay, because when I call a broker, I know based on their tone of voice, who they are, and what really makes them tick. And if you can figure that out in 1 to 2 minutes, you're going to have a whole lot more success, not just in trucking, but in life.
Right, because you can sell your business to them, and you know what they want to hear.
Right, exactly.
Well,
and listen, if you know what color they are, like a red is a guy that's going to go through the wall and do whatever, right? But they're also very matter of fact. If you understand that, and based on the tone, you can tailor your tone to match their tone. So, because we've all had that person that we call, and then their voice is just different, and maybe they're just command more authority, whatever, and maybe that intimidates somebody. But once you understand those personalities, then you can level the playing field, and now the negotiation is a breeze, right? Because you don't feel intimidated, and actually, you'll become comfortable. And the quicker you can get comfortable, be uncomfortable, the more money you'll make, and not just trucking,
absolutely,
but again in life.
Absolutely. And the other shortcoming that I think this industry has is the 15-day average. Like that's the floor. That's the floor. You need to be asking for, if it's a $2,500 or 2,500 mile run, you need to be asking for 1,000 more than the 15-day average. You're probably not going to get 1,000 more, but that's where you start, is 1,000 more.
Because that's just an average of the rate cons they know of.
Right.
And that's not the real rate anyway. Because the broker's not going to put the shipper rate on there.
And we're all going to find ourselves in a market where we're struggling to get even the 15-day average out of it. But that doesn't mean you don't ask.
Right.
Well, and sometimes the 15-day average, though, is only $150 more than the posted rate. So that's garbage to me. I'm never going to start there, So I'm not saying that you'll get it. But look, I mean, you're never going to get all this you try for. But look, as long as you're getting – look, here's how I look at it. I just need one, right? It's like trying to find a parking spot. At the end of the day, I'm like, damn, all I need is one spot. I don't care. I just need one, right? I'll invest a spot, but just give me somewhere, right? I mean, that's it. I'm not asking for, unicorns and rainbows. You know what I mean?
Well, and
there you go, Antonio.
Some people limit themselves on where they want to go too. So then they have this idea, okay, I'm going to go to this place, right? And then they get there and they want to go back to where they came from, right? Well, the rates going back are garbage, right? And they end up taking that. Well, what if you 3-stepped it back out of there, right? There's nothing, Dean, you taught me this. There's no such thing as a bad market.
Nope.
There's always a lane out of every bad market. There's a lane that pays. You just got to run that lane.
Right. You got to run the lane.
That's it.
Well, see,
Jeff,
Antonio had a good thing there. He said that his dry van freight was drying up, so now he's thinking about going into the oil field. Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, if oil gas prices are so high, the freight is down, but one business is booming is the oil field. So maybe you
Yeah.
want to do oil field for a year until the economy improves.
So I spent
Because that's where
9 years in the
money's
oil
at,
field,
right?
and I spent 9 years in the oil field. You'll make some good money in the oil field.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's just like where you're chasing your tail on that load board. It's like, but where is all the money at? Well, like you said, it's in the oil. So go to the oil field right now while it's $110 a barrel.
Right.
You know, economy gets better, you get the hell out of there, and you go back to doing what you were doing. You just gotta think outside the box a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
So the
Well,
challenge.
look, Michael Dow
so the
put a good
challenge
comment
with
on there,
that-
Jeff, about cost averaging. That's like the short game, right? I mean, he's
Right.
exactly right. I mean, look, because look, if you get to a bad market, and you see this all the time on YouTube, guys will I'm not saying deadhead's bad. Look, deadhead can be your friend. Don't deadheading, but look, if you run the short game, especially with the fuel, look, if you know your numbers, you can run the short game. If you don't know your numbers, the short game's going to be kind of tough, right? But you need to know your numbers.
Right.
because
We
you
have a lot
to
of
be
drivers
negotiating.
running the short game, and their net per month is really good in this environment.
Right.
But you got
Oh
to be
yeah,
on the
I mean,
game.
it depends on your situation. I mean, if you're getting paid by the mile, the short game isn't going to be so good, right? But if you're getting
Well,
percentage,
yeah. But if
it's
it's
going to be
percentage,
fantastic. So it just depends if you're an owner operator and you're making all the money, or if you're at least onto somebody. How are you getting paid there? I mean, there's just so many ways to make this strategy work, and you have to individualize it to yourself. But in a general sense, all I was getting at is that you may have in this economy, you may have to think about doing loads or hauling a certain type of freight that you weren't even considering while everything was all hunky dory. You know what I mean?
right? Just like
When you
Cool
had
Trucking
all-time
says,
rates, yeah.
right?
You
Always good
may
paying
you
freight.
may have to look at it.
Are you willing to do it? That's like if you go get a John Deere load that has 6 or 7 stops with tractors. Some people say, well, I'm not doing multi-stop. But those loads pay really well. Why not do the multi-stop? They don't take long to get the load off.
No,
Yeah, look,
they
you're
don't-
taking, multi-stop OTR is tough. But think about it, rate per mile. This may be TC Box said something, but rate per mile is the equivalent as a company driver making cents per mile. Because if you own a restaurant, I need revenue per day. That's what I need if I own a restaurant. If I own a business, I need revenue per day. But if you think of yourself as a rate per mile, that's company driver mentality. Just saying.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing is like a lot of people don't like to touch the freight. Well, what if you have like a driver assist load that pays pretty well?
But it all comes
down to
Can
take it.
you
My
tailgate? Can you tailgate the freight?
No, you take it.
My best paying loads during the pandemic. During the pandemic, my best paying loads were multi-stop and driver assist.
Yeah. So like that's all I'm saying is that you're going to have to think about doing loads you wouldn't think about doing last year because the rates were so high you didn't have to. But now there's too much competition out there. You can't be so picky. So I mean,
Right.
Well,
You have to
listen,
do
I
what
think
you gotta
There's
do.
nothing wrong with
Business,
multi-stop
right?
loads.
OTC.
They pay
Yeah.
well.
Well, I think guys should be just as picky. So if you're going to a major city, let's say Chicago, you should get paid to go into Chicago, right? I'm just saying, because I'm not going to go. I'm not going to. I don't do many major cities, right? So I'd rather go into the middle of nowhere, and because there's not a lot of trucks, right? Because a lot of guys don't like deadhead, but deadhead can be your friend. Think about this. Again, another thing. Now, if I go into a market where there's nobody, how many people are making phone calls in that area to make a sale? 0. I'll be the only
Right.
guy there trying to call to get out of there. Right?
That's like I tell everybody when you look at the maps and show the volume of freight to trucks, and you look and it's red. I'm not afraid to go to a red area because I know there's loads there.
Right. And
I
you
live
have
in a
to
red
pay
area and I run in and out of red areas all the time, and I
Right.
do just fine.
You do just fine.
Yeah.
And that's because a lot of people take all that for granted, right? They don't know the business, so they stay out of those areas. But you can go in there and you can still come out with good money.
And there's times, so there are times where I'll pick up a significant amount of deadhead, 200-300 miles to get to another good load, but that's where the next best paying load is, right? But
Right.
all that hurts is my rate per all mile. And if I'm tracking my numbers constantly, I know if that load is worth deadheading 300 miles for, right? It might be worth deadheading 300 miles for. It might not. But if I don't know my numbers, I have no idea.
It's true. You got to have a baseline, right? You got to know what your where your floor is at.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose money on these loads. I mean, it's real easy to do with the way the fuel is. So it's.
But
Yeah,
there was a guy that put a comment
and these brokers will take advantage of your ignorance. Don't get me wrong. They're in the business of keeping their money. So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They'll take advantage of you all day.
Well, right, but there was a guy that put a comment, put it up earlier, and he says, "Listen, I'll bet you, Bugatti trucker." He said, "Yeah, but I bet your fuel's only went up 10 to 15 cents." You know, but no, from last year. Look, he's about right? It might be 20 cents, right? It might be right around 20 cents from last year, but I'm not saying you won't have weeks or maybe a month here and there, but on the average, it's about 20 cents. So in a lot of guys' eyes, the sky's falling. I would just look at, we've all said, think outside the box. Warren Buffett has a great comment. What box?
Right.
Right?
What
If
box?
you limit
Right,
yourself,
why's there got to be a box?
think outside the box. There is no box, right? And listen, the other thing I would say is all the top people in the industry, right? And again, another sales analogy, but it's business, right? The guys that make a lot of money, they turn their car into a university on wheels. So they're listening to things that can help them make it better, whether it's negotiation, closing, warming up, the personality, the colors book, whatever. Look, we all have that opportunity. We are in the truck 10, 12, 15, 24 hours a day, right? We have an opportunity to make ourselves better each and every day. Turn your truck into a university on wheels. Lots of stuff on YouTube you can listen to, how to negotiate, business, whatever it is. But we can all do better. And the more people that do better, we make it better for everybody, because then that becomes the norm, right? So if you want to change things, it starts with our own self first, right? Because you can't change nothing if you don't start with yourself. You can't expect someone else to change before you will change.
Yeah, I do that by hanging out with you guys on the panel.
What, DC?
I said I do that by hanging out with you guys on the panel.
Yeah. Well, shoot, it's about time to end this thing, don't you think? I'm turning.
Yeah, I'm about ready. I gotta get up early.
Yeah.
What are we 2 hours deep now, Jeff?
Well, it's midnight.
But guys, it was Dean, Sam, man, it was a pleasure meeting you. Cool trucking. It was good seeing you too early.
You too, man.
Thanks for you guys
Jeff,
coming
thank you
on.
for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
Hey, nice meeting you. Hey, Sam, man, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Sandman. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, guys. You guys all have a good night.
Nice to meet you. The Dean.
See you guys.
All right, man. We'll see y'all guys later.
All right, thanks for the help, guys. Thanks for the moral support with the keyboard and figuring this crap out.
Hey, we got you. Technologically advanced.
That's right, man.
I
just made myself better tonight. Listen, did you stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night? Is that how you became better?
Look. 2 American service guys. We figured it out. We figured it out.
Man, we figured it out, man.
Yeah.
Even if one's dumber than a box of rocks, we still, I figured it out.
Even though we were from different branches, it's okay.
I know, man. I need a lot of help, brother.
All right,
man. We'll talk.
We'll see you later.
All right, brother. We'll see you. Good night.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.